just like that. That's always good, when the... let me just check a few things here. Oh, no, that's good. That's great. Just checking I've got some trousers on. Hi, everyone. It's, what is it? It's Thursday, the 20-something of January, 29th. Good grief, it's nearly finished, isn't it? Anyway, it's good to be back with you all. Paul English Live, 124. Don't know what that means. Must mean that 125 is coming up next week or whatever. Here we go. So many buttons to press this week. I've got no fingers left. How about that? It's a bit parky, isn't it? I don't know what it's like where you are, but it's a bit chilly here today. Beautiful day yesterday, though. Really was fantastic. We always start off with the weather because I never know what to talk about first. What else we talk about? Inside leg measurements? We'll get round to that a bit later, I suppose. But beautiful day here yesterday on the jolly old south coast. Everything was just marvellous. It was like a hint of spring yesterday. I don't know what it was like where you were. A lot warmer than it is today. Still a beautiful day today. Although I did go out for a walk and discovered that I still had the shorts on, which of course is extremely stupid of me, and I felt it today. Very bitter wind blowing up my doobry. But yesterday, I thought it was all going to start. I don't know if you remember last year, guys. I don't know what it was like where you were in England, but for us, I think spring started sort of the middle of March, about March the 15th or 12th or something like that. It just was absolutely cracking last year. So I thought, well, maybe it's taking a leaf out of last year's book. It's going to start in January, something like that. And that would be a cracking start to the whole thing. We've got a guest rocking up a little bit later. Monica Schaefer, who usually is with us on the last Friday of every month. And of course, this is the last Friday of every month. But many of you will recall that she didn't turn up in December because we were all eating plum duff or something. I have no idea what happened there. Anyway, I guess we'll get to find out. So it's a couple of months since Monica's been on. My, how time flies when you're having fun. And one person who has a lot of fun is... now, who is it? What's his name again? Oh, yeah, Eric von Essex. Eric, hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the show. Hello.
Yes, and
Hi.
What a jolly day it's been, isn't it? And it's been a beautiful day here, if it wasn't for the overcast cloud. But apart from that, it's all right.
Yeah.
It's been absolutely overcast most of the day, and yuck. But it's been sunny where you are.
We had sun this morning. Yeah, this morning it was pretty sunny, and we've got this conservatoire. We have a conservatory, which sounds awfully grand. It's
you
going
have
to
a
cost me quite a few.
conservative?
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yeah, Yes. I mean, it sounds grand, but it's going to cost me quite a few grand to get it to actually stay up for a few more years because it's. I keep looking at it. I think if I look at it too hard, it might fall over. So I try to not look. But it acts as a weather amplifier. So in the winter months, when the sun is there, it just heats everything up. It's great for drying your clothes. You know, if I could be bothered to wash them.
Is it north facing? Is it south facing? Or north facing?
It's actually it's sort of one side's to the it's west facing, but there's a big area on the south side. So it's
that's nice.
Yeah, it's good.
So you get nice warm weather, and I tell you something, my greenhouse certainly hots up. The sun's only got to be out for about 10.
Where have you gone? You've just disappeared.
Also,
where'd you go? You disappeared there for a second. Yeah, it's good. It must have been internet wobbles. Don't worry, it's internet wobbles. That's what it was.
You got the internet collie wobbles. But,
cobbly wobbles, yes.
Because I actually grow my own celery. What I do, I go to the supermarket, buy their crap, keep the stump, and put it in water till it grows a little shoot out the bottom, and then I put it in soil, and then I've got my own celery. And the taste is absolutely unbelievable. So,
Yeah.
you know. Hello, I'm hearing myself. What's going on?
No, I like to do that. It's fun. What I like to do at the beginning is throw everybody a boomerang, including myself. No, it's just a little thing that I was doing. Don't worry about that. That's okay.
By the way, Food for Thought Radio is absolutely fantastic. I'm actually thinking of tuning off of this tonight and listening to Food for Thought Radio. So, I mean...
what on earth are you talking about? Traitor!
Hang on. We're on Food for Thought Radio. I never thought that. I never realised that. Well, isn't that marvellous? And the Bowl Rat Farmer is on there talking about that other farm, which is up in, where is it now? Up near Cambridge. Very nice it is. So, very interesting. What was that?
Yeah, we are on that. We might, I won't bang on about that too much tonight, but I will mention it here opening. But before I just tuck into all that, a big shout out to everybody on WBN 324. We're here every week for a couple of hours, 8 till 10 p.m. UK time. And a shout out to everybody lurking around and already causing trouble in Rumble and YouTube on the chats there. Welcome. Good evening, everyone. Great to have you here. Food for Thought's been an absolute challenge, mate.
I bet it has. I'll tell you something, Bumblebee Farm sounds nice, doesn't it? Bumblebee Farm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, it's been, there's all sorts of things. It's a good job I hit on this sneaky idea of calling the first couple of weeks a beta version of the station, because it really is that. And I do feel a bit beaten up by it. But in a good way, not in a bad way. So... those of you that have tuned in over the last couple of weeks will know that there's a project underway, courtesy of Mark, the bowler hat farmer. We can't plug this enough, really, and I'm not going to. I'm going to keep plugging it quite a lot. He set up a thing called Food Finders Hub, which some of you may be aware of. If you're not, you need to be. foodfindershub.org. And the idea is to get 1 million people subscribing at £1 a month so that we can really get it to some right hanky-panky, believe you me. But... this all comes out of Mark's space, really, and this tour that he talked about here a couple of months ago when he was on, and all that kind of stuff. And so we've been trying to knock it into shape, and there's a lot. I haven't done one for a few years, and this is the whole shooting works on this thing. It's everything, and it's taking quite a bit. So, but lots of things have simplified. I'm up at 6 on a morning, Eric, pounding over trying to solve certain little technical things. This is because I'm an oaf as well. I'm not really a technical guy, I'm a sort of copy and paste guy. So I go, I need to do this. What am I going to do? So I chug around and find out how to do it. But it's slowly coming together in a pretty good way. And
it's good.
Yeah, well, there's very few live shows on it, and in fact, the schedule's wrong that's up there, and I don't mind. I just keep saying to everybody, just bear in mind that half of us haven't even got any clothes on when we're doing this. We're in such a rush, faffing around with it all. But it's great. I'm glad we did it this way, because it's a bit like, I don't know if I mentioned it last week, it's like you've ordered something from a shop, and when you turn up, the shop's not even built yet, but you can still get the cabbages that you ordered. It's that kind of stuff. So it's messy, but the amount of mess is reducing. And the known variables and problems are getting known clearer and getting fixed. So it's not that there's anything new to create. It's simply a matter of removing the little obstacles that keep popping up. Whilst also speaking to lots of people, I'm still doing this, that want to get behind the microphone and do things. So... And it was very funny on Monday. There's a guy called Gary Glendale. I don't know whether he'll catch this or not, but Gary's great. I've only spoken to him 3 or 4 times. Every conversation's been an absolute cracker. And Gary's very knowledgeable about crypto. Anyway, he's actually on before your show on Monday. You go out 8 o'clock, don't you, Monday? He goes out 7 o'clock Monday, 7 till 8. So... we were setting him up on Monday, and it suddenly dawned on me with 3 minutes to go that I was going to be on with him, which was a bit of I went, I'd not really planned for this at all, because you had Donald Jeffries on Monday. I want you to talk about that in a moment.
Oh, yes, very interesting.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. So, but anyway, Gary comes on, so we're talking, and he said, oh, yeah, we'll be doing the show. I'm going, oh, okay. So I ended up with him. And I'll tell you what, I didn't know what roles we were playing. It was a bit funny. I don't know whether he did. I said, look, hang on. This is your show. And why am I interviewing you? Aren't you supposed to... What's going on here? It was wonderfully bewildering, but really good stuff. And it's because it was kind of chaotic and messy, it was very fluid and covered an awful lot of interesting things. Like, he's extremely knowledgeable and focused on practical application of real cryptocurrencies, not central bank digital currencies. That's not what we're talking about. As you and I, because you and I are obviously very big fans of the central bank, aren't we, Eric? We love them.
Oh, of course, yes, yes. I mean, I tell the banks when I go in there how marvellous they are, and excuse me, I think I'm going to be sick. Now, bleeding. Well, do you know you can't get more than 250 quid out in a day? Of your bank account.
That's all I've got. I dream about getting £250 out in a day.
But
a whole day? That lasts me a month.
I talked about money. I was thinking of an idea. If a farmer is a bit worried about selling directly to the public, and it would have to be, say, mail order and things like that, I was thinking of us lot who are in, the FFT, what we could do. When they first start, mail order or business or anything like that, there's obviously going to be a few hiccups. Well, as we're nice people, we'll understand that, and we'll all try and get orders together to help that farmer who might be struggling, who might need a little bit of money, and order some meat off of him, that type of thing. So I was just thinking that might be an idea that we could do. So they could put it on FFT if someone's just starting up. And try and push them, try and help them all we can.
Absolutely. I think, Eric, all of these, just about anything, it's like grunt work at the moment, and I think it always will be, in the sense that there are a lot of people out there that need to get involved with this conversation. Actually, they're already involved in it in their head, but they don't know that it's out there taking place in a sort of semi-public sort of way. But everybody that you speak to, or that I speak to anyway, or maybe it's just the sort of people I have in my life, they really get it pretty quickly. And, like I think I mentioned maybe last week, you don't need to really go in a hard sell. You just go food, better quality food, supermarkets not so good. Yeah, everybody goes yeah. And farmers are under pressure, so that the government have done a big favour to us by bullying the farmers over the past couple of years, really seriously bullying them. And everybody's going, hey, that can't be right. No farms, no food, no radio shows. I mean, no nothing much, to be quite honest. So it's pretty basic, and because of that, it's got instant attraction in the conversation. It's just instant, you don't have to start. Did I tell you about the history of usury from Babylonian times? I don't need to talk about that, which is wonderful. We can get around to that later. It's basically, there's a lot of people already in the hall. They just don't know that they're in it. Do you know what I mean? They're in here. They're in this space, I think. So, yeah, what you're saying, absolutely spot on. But just going back to Monday, anyway, this little show with Gary was great, and he was cheekily streaming it to places like Twitch and other things. I didn't know. What are these people like? It's really good, actually. And he contacted me. Sent me some messages a couple of days. He said I've had a lot of positive feedback on that. I think he hangs around with a really with a crypto crew. Gary, if you hear this, I'm sorry if I get it wrong. It's just, we've barely spoken. So this is like bumping into someone in a bar and finding you've got something in common, and I don't even know too much yet. But got very positive feedback on that. I loved it, actually. I hadn't it was a bit of a deep dive in many ways, and he's got a different area of knowledge to me, I think. I mean, he's very knowledgeable about the history of the banking stuff as well. But the theme of it, the heart of it, again, because we are becoming, hopefully, in this show and others, a solutions-based show, which the energy around it is so much better. It's so much better. I just, it makes me want to get out of bed and go, what can I do? What can I, it's really good. And I'm feeling like when I was doing all the stuff that got me into a lot of trouble 25 years ago, I'm feeling like that again. I'm going, good grief, I thought I'd cast all those days of being a maniac off, but I haven't. I quite like it, and
but this is what life's about, isn't it? Because we got to do. We got to be positive. We've had enough depression.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I'll tell you something else that gets me. I mean, going back to that celery. You go into a supermarket, you go and buy the celery, it's just tasteless, nothing. It just feels like eating water, it's nothing. You grow your own celery or get it organic. It's peppery. Celery. It tastes like bloody celery. Yes, it's very nice. And it really has the taste of celery, and you forget after a while what these vegetables and things tasted like, because there's no taste in what you buy in the supermarkets. So that's something that we want to bring back, and become a food snob, saying, oh, I'm not eating that, I'm having this because that's tasty. Because let's face it, when you see things now, you have to put so much bloody flavouring in everything. When I say flavouring, natural flavouring in to something to taste of anything. So that's my rant for the evening.
I mean, do you think the people that sell celery do they get a good salary for selling celery?
Well, that's celery.
Sally sells celery down by the seashore.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, the celery salesmen get a good salary. That's what we want to know. But I think, look, all of those things. Yeah. It's funny though, celery. I read, it was a great segue that you did there. We're talking about banking. You went to celery. I've not done that before, but I quite enjoyed it, Eric.
Well, celery and salary is similar, isn't it? Celery.
What we're trying to do is we're trying to keep the bankers from making all the lettuce.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we are.
Yes.
We don't want them to make all the lettuce. It's a terrible state of affairs. But what Gary's... We didn't even really get into this. We only had an hour. You know what an hour's like with blokes. It's sort of like you're just getting started, right? But it's kind of good, really, to sort of be nailed down to an hour. And he called me up. He said, do you want to do another one? When? I said, this week. I said, hang on. I need a schedule or something. It's all mayhem. I'm just trying to give you a flavour of my week. It's mad. I'm so invigorated by it, though. It's like, it's not organised and sort of ticking over. It's just like, oh, good grief, I've got to get that done. And I've really enjoyed it, although I'm absolutely cream crackered. Not for now, I'll be full of beans and then I'll just collapse at the end of this thing. Not really, I'm over egging the custard. But what he's looking to do, I think, and we didn't get around to it in this conversation, but this is the constructive bit, is to look at a crypto token system for food with the farmers. And, you know, why would you not accept these things? If I gave you a token, you know, a digital one or whatever, and I learned some really good stuff as well from him, little simple things that you don't think about that got me warmed up more fully on the topic, because I've not really ploughed into it. I didn't plough into it because I've mentioned before, I'm such an old git. I was really into the digital gold stuff at the turn of the century, right? That was e-gold and C-gold and a thing called Pecunix, which was very good, really well put together. All of these things got hammered because they had the power to hammer them. So e-gold was basically gold held in storage and then, you know, shaved down to sort of like 1/100 of a gram for like pennies. Of course, if you go back, I don't know what the gold price was about 25 years ago, but it was, I think, about 350 quid an ounce. And what is it today? 3,500. So it's been a tenfold increase. Or you could say that, you know, the purchasing power of the pound has reduced by a factor of 90%, which is true. Something like that. So it all depends how you want to look at these things.
You're spot on. Yeah, but what about the gold back notes that you can get from Florida?
Well, I've heard that they've closed, Eric, but then that was just a rumour maybe. I don't know. I'd heard that they'd stopped making them. However, all of these technologies exist. It's a matter of actually... It seems to me one of the challenges is to get something that has sufficient substance in it in the marketplace that people will use it. So, I mean, like if I knew you and I sent you a digital food token, you take it and you say, well, what can I do with that? You go, well, there's 10,000 farm shops around England that'll take it. You can buy food with it. You go, yeah, that's it. Because... I mean,
you're right.
That's it. It underpins
right
everything
on.
else.
Yeah.
It underpins everything else, doesn't it? So, you know, we were talking about this. The money that has arisen historically is because it's redeemable for stuff you really need always. Okay, and gold and silver were the technologies then. They're still applicable now. There's going to be all sorts of jiggery pokery, as we can see, going on with these things. But a food token, I'm just calling it that. We come up with a better one. It could be called an FFT, right? After the radio thing. Why couldn't it be? You know, a financial food token or whatever. I've got the FFT. Sounds cool already, you see.
What about that other idea they're doing? I'm not sure if it's Greece or Turkey, where someone goes in to, say, buy a cup of coffee, and I've said this several times, and say it's £3 for, you know, and they say, right, I'll pay £6 and £3 will go on this chit, or what could be an FFT.
What did you say?
The chit, not the shit.
Oh,
and
yeah,
and they put that on a notice board. So some poor soul that hasn't got much money, it's cold outside, and they want a coffee. They go and they just take that shit off the notice board, give it to the cashier, get a cup of coffee, and it's free. And they don't know who's donated it. It's a mystery who's donated it, and there's no embarrassment. There's just nothing said. They're just okay, right? Oh, here's your cup of coffee, and I think that is a nice thing to do, and it helps the shopkeeper, and it helps the poor souls. Because there are people with money and there's people without money, and I think it's only fair that people with money pays a little bit more.
Yeah.
So there we go. That's another idea. We could have an FFT CHIT, CHIT.
I'm good at this acronym, Lark. I can't stop doing it. It's just I've been doing it all my life. That'd be a good one. We used to, the thing that got me into trouble, right? We had a banking system in there called ABS, which stood for Allied Beneficial Services, right? GLOOP, right? But that wasn't why it was ABS. The reason it was ABS is, do you remember back in cars in the late 90s, they had automatic braking systems, and on the back of cars you got ABS on the bonnets. On the boots, sorry, right?
Mine's got ABS
or the trunk
on it,
if you're an American. So it's just free. You just look at what they're doing. You go, oh, we'll have a bit of that. And you just sort of piggyback on it, because it's this thing about sort of purchase in the mind, as it were. Oh, yeah, and you're away. So just find anything good out. We need something called M&S, don't we? Well, no, we don't. We don't want to support that, really.
No,
but you get the idea. You get the idea. So, very constructive chat with Gary. Really was. And he's going to be on every Monday. I might even do something with him tomorrow. If I do, I'll probably pump it out on Rumble and it'll go out wherever I can. But this has been a week of complete ad hoc, spontaneous. All right, let's go live, and it's a bit wacky. For anybody looking at the FFT website, we think the farmer's fab. It's very pretty. But there's tons missing, or there's tons indicated that's yet to come. And Pete's done an absolute fantastic job. I know what it takes to do these things, because I've done them in the past. And I've got to tell you, I'm just delighted not to be doing it this time round, really, because these things are time monsters. They're absolute time monsters.
Oh,
you sort of lose 5 days fixing a little bug and stuff. I do, anyway, because I'm a sort of bit of a dork with it. But I sort of grind away and pound away at it. And it's great to not have to do that so much. So,
that's the trouble with hard work. I mean, as my late uncle, who was a comedian, used to say, if he was late, he'd say, "Excuse me being late, I've been slaving over a hot woman all morning." That's one of his sayings. Sorry, it's a terrible joke, isn't it?
Yeah, Alice Gorgeous actually has just chipped in on the acronym thing, and she thinks IBS would be quite good. Yes, International Banking Services, is that right?
Yes.
Or yeah, absolutely. IBS. Yeah. Oh, I've got. Do you use IBS? Well, I don't want you to talk about that. But
there's a big movement in it at the moment.
There's
IBS.
A big movement in IBS. Yeah, that it is.
It's kicking out a bit of a stink, this IBS. Sorry.
Absolutely. Yeah. So. And I'm still bumping into people. I've got loads of people to call back with. There's a guy I just connected up today who's got loads of music available, which is, does his own stuff, knows lots of bands and things. It's just going to take a little while to bring people in. So I feel like I'm not the only one, because Mark's doing this as well. It's a bit like being a sort of a recruitment officer or in human resources. Okay, yes. What do you do then? Well, I want to do something. Well, that's great, but what is it that you want to do? Can we just find out? I've no idea what we're supposed to say to you at the moment. So it's just getting to grips. And then there's people who've not done it before who need to be pointed in the right direction for all the technical stuff, like a microphone and a headset. Mark, by the way, the bowler hat farmer, he did a show on Tuesday, which was. Did you catch that on Tuesday? I don't know if you caught it right. It was.
I'm not sure. Can't remember.
Well, so it's extremely lively. Well, you must have done, because you mentioned Paul from the.
Oh yes, I did do. Yes, so I get muddled up with the days. Yes,
that's right. So Mark didn't have his microphone until he said, "I've got the headphones have come and they're great." I said, okay. And then the microphone turned up in time, and then he couldn't hear him. So there's all this stuff, and I'm going, oh yeah, I'd forgotten about all this. It's great when it's all handled, but when it's not handled, it's quite I feel like a roadie. I'm like a roadie as well, so I'm going, oh no, put that over there, and all this, that, and the other. So, but it's going good. It's going good, and he feels all radio-y now, does Mark? I saw him on the video cam there. He's got his cans on, his mic in front of him. I'm going, there you go. You feel now you're doing it proper, like it does. It sends little signals back to you. And it's good, isn't it?
I tell you something. I love it, and I tell you something else. It's something that AI can't do. because this is the human touch. And AI, I don't think will ever be able to match the human touch. I might be wrong, I might be talking at my backside, but there's something about the human touch which is very, very different. You go into self-service, it's very different to going somewhere where someone actually serves you. You know, you go into a cafe and the lady comes over and takes your order. That's nice. Self-service, you know, pick up a tray and forget it. So I think this is the way forward. It really is, and it's as I say. FFT, who knows? I mean, it's expanding, hopefully, with Patrick and into America.
Let's just talk it up big. It's taken over the world already. We haven't even done anything.
That's right.
Just big it up. It doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah. Can we use FOC bobs as well? All kinds of currencies. You know, FOC bobs.
I have no idea. You'll just have to get involved and just start piping up. It's not down to me. I mean, I just think you could tell people to FFT off, couldn't you? As well, we're going to be able to make it. We're going to be able to use it for all sorts of things. And I mentioned here that we will be able to tell people to cluck off, which I think is quite nice. It's a bit like that Irish word feck, which I just think is hilarious. I always find it funny, even now. It's eternally funny to me because we've got. I mentioned before we had these. Well, we still do. I saw them actually round about March last year. These really good friends that we made in the 90s when we were living up in Wimbledon and were very posh, whilst we live in the poor part of Wimbledon. But they were living in the good part. They were great guys and we really good friends. But being Irish, they just tell each other to feck off all the time, and I always found it funny all the time. It's still funny now to me, so I love it. It's sort of that Irish sense of the surreal, just twisted around a little bit, just cheekily off focus, and it works well. So, and it's not too offensive. And if you're offended by it, tough. Yeah. So, what else was there this week? So Mark's been pounding away. Oh yeah, we've got more hosts lined up. Some for the end of March. This sort of stuff. So at the moment, it's just overlaying things and bringing them in. Mark was speaking to someone the other day. I think it was it's why Shelley's show was on. Shelley's show was on last night. Shelley. So yeah, and she had a cracking show with Tony Goodman. I don't know if you caught it. He's this Cornish guy, and what's his? It's EV Carnage is his YouTube channel. Eve, as in electric vehicle carnage, right? And he's having a go at electric vehicles, and he does all these fantastically funny short videos. And he was on last night, and it was a great show. Shelley and Maleficus really enjoyed it last night. A lot of fun. And they had a big sort of technical brouhaha in the middle of it, which wasn't my fault. I was so pleased about it. It was to do with StreamYard, the studio tech that we use. It just went completely bonkers. And what was happening was that Tony couldn't hear that everything was going out on the radio, but he couldn't hear them in the studio, which was just weird. So he was talking, going, right, I'm talking to see if anybody can hear me. I quite liked it anyway. It was just one of those nice, rich little sort of...
He's brilliant. I've seen him. He's a Cornish bloke, and he loves electric cars, I don't think. And
It's very funny.
Something that people would overlook with electric cars is the electromagnetic smog inside. What's that going to do to the human body?
To the testicles. What's it going to do to your testicles?
Well, that's right.
Yeah, your naughty bits, because they're sat on this bloody battery all day long. I just think they're... Anyway, whatever.
I mean, the old-fashioned cars, I mean, let's face it, wasn't it nice to put a key in a lock, turn it, and go click, and you get in, and you then turn another key, turn the same key in the ignition, and off you go. I mean, they've got to the internal combustion engine. They've got it to a point now where it really is excellent. And that technology is just going to be thrown out. And in a matter of few years, there won't be anybody around that would know how to build an internal combustion engine. That is expertise will just go. And it's a bit like the Victorians. We can't actually produce...
Get back. There's all these mechanics. There's all these grease monkeys all over the place, right? In garages, itching to get spanners out and get covered in oil again. And someone needs to really come up with a kit car. I'd buy one. I speak to people. I go, right, I want a car, really basic, 4-speed gearbox. You make it 5 if you want to show off. I don't know what the parts are like. I want mechanical doors, right? I don't want any electrics in it. I want the minimal amount of electrics in it. I want a radio in it, maybe Bluetooth, but that comes in the radio thing. I don't want all this mileometer crap. I just want to know how much fuel there is left in the tank, right? And how fast I'm going and the oil pressure, and that's it, right? and I want the doors to open under my arms. I don't want central locking or any of that guff. And I want the same with the boot. Someone could design one. That's what we want. I bet you could get it. It'd be just great. Build your own car. Why can't you?
I think you
really
still get.
basic.
You still can get.
I'd love
I
one.
think you can still get the Lotus 7, and that's a kit car. You build your own. There's still quite a few kit cars around, but I agree with you. They said, when was it? About 20 years ago. China's going to import loads of basic cars, which you can repair yourself, and it's going to destroy the British car industry. That was 20 years ago. I haven't seen them yet. But apparently they reckon that cars that they sell in Africa are different to the cars they sell in Europe. The ones they sell in Africa, like the standard models and that, you can repair yourself. But in but in Europe, no, you can't, because if you're in a bush somewhere, who's there to repair it? You've got to be able to repair it yourself, and that's where Land Rover came in. They were really basic and they're good. Now it's all full of electronics and God knows what. So there we go.
We don't like it. I know, it's just, you can just put seat belts in and just conform to whatever. I mean, you're right, just picking up on what you said there, we can't have this because it's going to destroy the British car industry. But, of course, that's the job of the politicians, and they've done a really good job of it by outsourcing it to China and Japan. And we'll destroy it that way. If anybody's going to destroy it, we will. We destroy everything else. That should be their tagline. The government, good for nothing, permanently, and it always costs you more. Anyway, someone's written here as well. It says, Mark Hansen says, Tony Goodman has a really good YouTube channel. Yes, he does. Tony Goodman is great, says Made in Cornwall. Yes, he is. He's the guy that did that. Do you see that video where he took Trump's speech, and he overdubbed it? And it was about, I don't know, America First or something. And he put this Cornish accent into Trump's mouth. It was fantastic. And it was jam first.
Jam first.
About jam and clotted cream on your scones. Yeah, it was jam first. We're jam first, people.
But
it was just fantastic. I love that. You remember that?
I think I've seen that. But I'll tell you what they are doing. They're getting older cars off the road by changing the petrol. Because my cars, I've got a 1989 Toyota and a 2002 smart car. And I have to run them on high octane, because they're dropping the octane levels, and of course if you get this new fuel, it rots all the rubbers and seals and Christ knows what and everything that's in the fuel line, so and it damages the engine. So that's what they're doing, and a lot of garages now you can't get is it 99 octane? You can only get 95. So that's the thing. So they're getting the older cars off the road stealthily. I mean, they did that when they had the unleaded fuel, didn't they? Do you remember that? And you had to add something called ADNOC, or whatever it is that you put in the fuel.
I remember that. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
But the thing is,
your engine's knocking. Yeah, that good thing. John Possum Hale says, did Paul just say conform? Did I say conform? You must all conform, everybody. This is the voice of reason. I don't think I said the word conform. Maybe I did. Good grief. I'll have to go to the back of the class. Tony Goodman, though, you remember that song I played last week? With the really difficult lyrics. Well, it's not Tony Blackburn, it's Tony Goodman. Tony Goodman.
Oh, yes, I remember that
man.
Man
good neat, man, good neat. Oh, it's just fantastic. That's it. Tony Goodman.
That's right. I'm actually, I've got my last session with a psychiatrist after listening to that, because it sort of sticks like chewing gum to your side of your brain, doesn't it? Tony Goodman, Tony Blackburn.
Yeah, I know. It's a tricky one, that. You know what? It was me getting my own back on you, Eric, because of Happy Days Are Here Again.
Oh, don't remind me of that.
And again, and again, and again. They've never ended. I've been happy ever since I heard that. Oh, God, I'm happy again. It just goes on and on and on. Yeah, it was wonderful. Yeah, Paul, hi.
Hi. We've had ethanol fuel with like 10% ethanol forever, like 15 years at least.
Yeah.
And it does. It breaks down the seals. And there was also an E85 that was 85% ethanol. And what that would do is that would destroy the rubber seals. It would cause the inside of the fuel tanks to rust. It would loosen up all the gunk and crud that was shellacked to the bottom of the tank and held safe and secure away from the fuel filter. It would break down all that gunk and allow that to wash into the fuel system, making the very next stop the mechanic to get your car running again. Using a tow truck to get there, of course. So yeah, they're attacking the existing automobiles, and they're coming out with new automobiles. We remember the Kenyan $5,000 electric car. You remember that?
Yes, what happened to that one? That one died of death, didn't it?
What happened to that one was the same thing that'll happen to anything that challenges the status quo. Is somebody went in there through investment and venture capital, and they took over the company, and they took down the project. They shelved it. So if we're going to do anything different as far as automobiles or transportation or anything like that, we have to take down, number one, the oil companies first. We have to take down the major auto manufacturers second. And we have to open the doors to these alternative manufacturers that actually give us something that doesn't have a million buttons to break and gets 100 miles to the gallon and doesn't cost a ton. We're going to have to get rid of the controlling entities first.
I'll tell you something.
Well, I think we're going to have to just think smart. John Pontes writes in YouTube chat, says, a guy called Casey Putsch, I think I pronounced it, Putch. You heard of this guy, Paul? He's in your neck of the woods. Of course, it's a big neck. Big woods. He says, guy called Casey Putch in the USA says he could manufacture diesel cars that does 0 to 100 in 5 seconds and runs for millions of miles and affordable. He's on YouTube. I'll look him up. Stacy Putch. I made a note of that. Thank you. Yeah,
that's the guy. I think there was a guy in Indiana that he came up with a composite body, a carbon fiber composite body with like a 21 or a 25 horsepower diesel engine, of 4 or 5 speed transmission, and he got crazy fuel economy, and the guy's an engineer. And he just gets bored and invents things.
What a pest! What a pest!
What an absolute pest! He invented
grief.
this car that that is very simple. Very simple interior. I mean, you would absolutely love it. 1 or 2 gauges, a shifter, and a steering wheel. That's all it is.
Yes, please. That's what I want. That's all I want.
It's actually a beautiful car. But it just goes like a rat's. It goes like a bat out of stink. He actually did. He has a car collection, and he did a comparison between his diesel car and I think a Mach Mustang and like something else. He has some pretty exotic cars, and the diesel did okay. I mean, it did pretty close to what the other car that was 10 times the money would do. Wow. It was crazy.
Well, maybe there's different ways. You know, I'm always saying that there's different ways to skin any cat. And we've been doing that communications-wise around here for a few years. I don't talk as direct maybe as I would like to, although I need to get in the pub a few times and really let rip. But I think the car thing. Okay, so the model is somebody designs a car like this cool thing, and then they have to go for funding or find an investor pool to do it. Blah 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 blah. Yep. So that's the traditional model. But we're not thinking about it, or we can think about it. I think probably in different ways, because. What we're sort of challenged with, I think, is to get the network, and somebody's just written in about network here, from Ringmaster in Rumble says, but the network is slowly dying out the last couple of years. And Exo writes, sounds like some ominous line from the Matrix. But the network is slowly dying out over the last couple of years. Good grief, so it is. No, if we are a network of people, what we need to do is why can't the people actually fund it with organized communication? I know I'm living in La La Land. Really, there's nothing actually stopping it other than energy. You go, hey, I got this car. I need this amount of money. I'm not looking for investors, big institutional investors, because they'll chop me cojones off. You know it, I know it, and they know it. They'll just pretend that they're not going to until it actually comes to market. Why don't we just sort of fund it direct? Of course, everybody will get interfered with, but at least you all get to meet spooks then. And so everybody will have personal experience of what these guys are like, these saddos that work for the establishment. You know, but it's a way. It's a thought.
the people are already doing that. They're using crowdsource funding.
There you go.
For inventions, and using crowdsource funding to do the R&D and the initial development, then using advanced sales with so much down for the purchase. And then they'd have to, of course, wait a period of time for their actual vehicle to be manufactured. I mean, Koenigsegg does that. I mean, you have to pay for the car before they even start building it. And also, private associations.
They are a bit pricey, though, aren't they? They are a bit pricey.
Oh, yeah, $1 million, $1.2 million, $1.5 million for the base model. Yeah, sure, sign me up. Mm-hmm. But there's also private associations where those vehicles have to be sold not to the public, but within a group of private individuals that belong to the same member association. The only problem would be you have to deal with bureaucracy, because they're not going to let you license or put that vehicle on the road until it passes some EPA and administrative safety hurdles and all this happy crap. So you have to get rid of the administrators too.
Yeah, well, we're not going to let them talk to us unless they're in the private membership club. Can't talk to you.
But they reckon that
you haven't passed our regulations. Well, you haven't passed ours, mate, because you're working for a bogus organisation called the government that doesn't do what it says on the tin. So you get your own house sorted out first, then we might listen to you. Listen, I know I'm talking out my bum, but sometimes it's nice, isn't it? Well, sometimes it's nice to really talk out of your backside.
They reckon that Henry Ford. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut in there, but Henry Ford, if he started today, he wouldn't get anywhere.
No, he wouldn't.
Seriously, because he would. And what they can't get out their thick skulls is that battery cars did not last. There's always, I'm getting fed up on the internet of seeing, these are battery cars in the 1900s. No, they didn't last because the petrol engine was far superior. And they can't get it out of their thick skulls. Battery cars are all right for just going down the road to the shops to get a few groceries and come back again. Perfect, absolutely perfect, because short journeys kill combustion engines. But if you want any decent type of journey, forget about electric. You need an internal combustion engine. That's it, and that's why they were phased out in the first place. And they can't seem to get that,
Yeah, I know. I just think, Eric, that, and Paul will know it too, he could probably cite loads of examples. Technically, this thing was solved a long time ago by many people on both sides of the Atlantic. It's been solved, right? It's just absolutely solved. I was talking about that car in Los Angeles, 1913, that ran on compressed air. An absolute average speed back then of, 38 miles an hour. This is 1913. That's serious, right? And a range of 500 miles on auto-renewable compressed air. As the exhaust came out, it recompressed the tank. That's why it went so far. Right. I'm just going, that makes sense. I mean, come on. The whole problem is the absence of engineers in the positions of responsibility, and I include government. There aren't any engineers in government, so it doesn't work.
Yeah,
right.
It's a mentality, isn't it, engineering? We're trying to adopt it in all sorts of things. You look at a thing and you go, well, that ain't right. You just know from common sense that don't work. But government doesn't have that. They don't want it to work right, because then we don't need them. So, and they know that, either consciously or unconsciously. So they continually make things that are half-arsed and crap, so they can hang around fixing it for us and saving us and looking great in front of the crowd. It's a psychological disease, I'm afraid. It's more than just engineering problems.
That, as well as the bureaucrats are not engineers. They don't understand what has longevity or value, inherent value. They don't give a crap about something that's good for the people. The only thing that they're concerned about is maintaining the financial viability of the existing industries that are paying the lobbyists that bend their ears all day long. They don't give a crap about an electric car that only costs $5,000, because all of their supporters that work for Ford, GM, Toyota, and Nissan, whatever, they're not going to be happy. The people might be deliriously happy, but the people don't cross their palms with paper. It's the industry.
It's crap, isn't it?
The politicians.
Fundamentally, it's just crap. It's just a load of. It is. The older you get, the more you look at everything, you just go, crap, 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 crap. Yeah. You just get exhausted with you. Are you impressed with our new thing? No, mate, it's crap, like everything else you produce. Because it's got this bias in it. The bias is it's designed to be, going back to usury and the leveling of interest on loans, what does it do? It causes people to produce crap. That's what it does. That's the driver right at the base of it.
Yeah. Like the C5. Anybody remember the C5? I don't think you had that in the States. Did you? The Sinclair C5.
Have you ever driven in one, Eric?
No. So, actually, someone I noticed what they said on was it Spitting Image. Bloke said that looks like an invalid carriage. He said, I'm not an invalid. He said, well, you soon will be if you drive it. I mean, it was just it's a bathtub on wheels, isn't it?
Yeah, I want you to know that I've met Clive Sinclair and I've driven one.
Have you really?
I'm serious.
You poor sod.
Yeah.
What was it like? What was it?
But that would be perfect.
It's hilarious. Well, I was in my 20s, right? So I didn't really care. We actually I was in this telemarketing company, and of course it was bombing. No one, a great boffin, but not a marketeer. He didn't know what people actually wanted. He just wanted to give them what he'd created, and there's a big gap there. So we had one in the reception room because a lot of companies used to come to us when they'd got a dud on their hands, and they needed to have it shifted to try and, reduce their losses. They were going to make losses, but they were trying to not make them sort of devastating. So we'd often get this sort of ropey stuff that had not been thought through. We go, yeah, okay, well, we'll see what we could do. And we get sort of, 50 people on the phones for 3 weeks and say, no, not with all the will in the world is anybody going to buy this. It's just no good. So we weren't trying to persuade people. We were just sort of, really, they were more like market research goals to find out what people actually wanted. And many of people used to design things without actually finding out what people really wanted. I'm talking 40, 50 years ago, So things have come along quite a bit now. Of course, on the internet, you can find out everything that you want before you even produce a thing, I guess, even though this doesn't seem to stop people producing a lot of crap.
So
but still,
was it an exciting drive? I mean, was it,
no, it's not. That's not the word that leaps to mind. The problem with it was that it was plastic and it sounded like it as you drove along. The wheels were ridiculous. They were absolutely ridiculous. They were so narrow and small and plasticky, and you're so low on the ground that really any car going by was intimidating because your head was about 18 inches off the ground, completely unprotected. You didn't even need a crash helmet to drive around it. I didn't have a crash helmet. I mean, I wasn't the only one. There were just people there said, we'll drive it around the yard and stuff like that. And Clive came over and he sat in it. We took a photograph of him or something like that. I can't remember what was going on. I wasn't that close to it, but I know that there was a bit of energy and action around it. And I think, isn't that the thing that sort of did him in business-wise? Bright guy, but, just not bright enough.
ZX81 computer. Where the consumer was the quality control, and you could take the computer, you get it, and you got a dud one. You just took it back to the shop, they give you another one, and people be going back about 20 times before they found a good one. I mean, what a ridiculous way to market something. There's no quality control at all. They just shut the bastards, loads of them.
Personally,
I know it gives us something to talk about, though, doesn't it?
The most valuable thing that we've talked about so far is a bathtub with wheels on it, because that would be so cool to be able to properly manage your time, getting ready for work. I mean, you wake up, literally grab your knickers and your bath brush, and you take care of business while you're stuck in traffic on the way to work. That sounds like perfection to me.
Oh, have you seen what they call volubles or something like that? What it is, it's a cycle car, and they're horrible. They look like a sort of elongated turd, and you get inside this thing.
Did you just say turd?
Yeah, it just looks like a turd.
He did.
Yes. Well, what's wrong with that? But he looks like one.
Say it again.
Yes.
Yeah. You said it very well. I got lost as soon as you said that. My mind got hijacked. It went somewhere. I'm sorry about that, Eric. Yeah.
And these things cost about £3,000 or £4,000. I'd have to pay me £3,000 or £4,000 to have one. Not me pay them.
Expensive turd. It's
a very big turd. Yeah. and they're actually. Yeah.
They have a similar thing in the States. I'm not sure if it's in the States or where it is, but it is a 3-wheeled cycle with 2 wheels in the front, a single wheel in the back. It has pedals that run a dynamo, that run a generator, that charges a battery, and then the vehicle is run by an electric motor. Now, you can plug it in and charge it, and then If you take it down the road and you start to run out of power, you just start pedaling, and it replaces the power in the batteries. The beauty part is it's like a rock-solid, stable roller skate on 3 wheels. You cannot get the thing to roll over. You cannot get it to spin out because of the differential in the pounds per square inch between the surface area of the front wheels and the single back wheel. And it'll go 60 miles an hour, and it costs literally little or nothing. As far as like a stupid little commuting thing from hither to there, you could take it around the block to get some milk, or you could take it on a 500-mile trip. Just make sure you've got your leg muscles tuned up before. It's an amazing thing.
Really? I've
Yes.
never seen that.
We need to get these amazing things, don't we?
Well,
we do. So,
that's right.
Exo writes, going back to Clive Sinclair and his C5, Exo writes, Sinclair's C5 still had more engine and CPU power than the Apollo space mission tin cans.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, good grief. Yeah, that's quite a thing. And Noddy1 has arrived. He says, hi, folks. My first time here, although I know of Paul from another platform. Oh, I've been spying on me, have you? Great. Hi, welcome, Noddy. Good to have you in the
Which
show.
Paul,
That's
though?
great.
Just 2 of us.
Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah. Well, you're more famous than me.
No, I'm not.
I'm actually I want to be infamous. You know that if you're infamous, you're actually more famous than being famous. That's what you want to be. You want to be
true.
infamous, whatever that might mean.
So
Infamy, infamy. They've all got it. Infamy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's the only real-world example of in being negative or positive, more positive than otherwise. But inaccurate, of course, is not accurate. But infamous is, oh, shit, he's so famous you can't even calculate it. I don't know. I'm curious as to
Alice
which
Gorgeous
Paul.
writes. Yeah, Alice Gorgeous writes. She says, "Well, we don't. We'll find out later on. I'm sure everybody's waiting to find out. It's really, really important.
Bated
Yeah,
breath.
it's very important. That Alice Gorgeous. She says, Mum and Dad had an orange Beetle VW in the 70s. It was a right rattler. Oh, I like those things. And John Pontus says,
that.
same here. Same here, Alice. He says, my mum had one. I sat in the dog box and loved it. Yeah. The boot at the front. Yeah, that always threw me as a kid. Where do you put your luggage? What's the engine in the back? Yeah.
in the front.
They were pretty cool. They had character. Isn't that the word that we use? Character is what they had. And they worked. They worked,
And they
didn't
had
they?
fabulous gasoline-powered heaters for the interiors because the engines were air-cooled. Fabulous. Fabulous.
I know. 1937 design, 35 design, was it? Yeah, still. But, couldn't design anything back then, could they? No, of course not. No. Couldn't design
the most
anything.
reliable
Also.
car ever. And if it wasn't
Yeah, there was
rusted out,
did you ever
It
see
would
those?
float.
You must have seen them in America because we didn't see them. Adverts for the Beetle in the 1960s. This is just me being an advertising nerd. The agency was Doyle Dane Burnback. I loved all the advertising names, right? Don't you want to work at Doyle Dane Burnback? It just sounds grand. Like they're all wizards and brilliant and geniuses. Anyway, they came up with they got the Beetle account. Right, and because it wasn't known in the States, because this is early 60s, so you're all driving 16-litre V8s, and petrol costs nothing. And why should it cost anything at all? And just, you're having a great time in these boats, and which I love. I love all those big yank tanks. And so they got the account. Of course, it's tiny. It's got no engine power and everything. So they looked at it and they came up with a brilliant ad campaign with these plain black and white photographs with like one-word titles. And the best one ever was just a photograph of the bug in the studio, and it just said above it "lemon." Don't you think that's cool? It looks like a lemon, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's just
Yes, it does.
But then a
absolutely
lemon
brilliant.
car is a useless car because I had a lemon car because it leaves a bit of taste in your mouth. But the best advert I saw
does that
for
have
the
the same? Does that have the same meaning in the States, Paul? If you call something a lemon, it means it's not that. It really
Actually,
okay.
that is the
Got it.
basis for a lemon law. If you buy a used car in the United States and the thing turns into just an absolute pith. You can threaten to sue the seller under the lemon law, which is they sold something that they knew was unreliable, and it's no longer a matter of buyer beware. It's watch out for your ass because the administrative state says you sold me something that wasn't worth buying. But the Beetle commercial that I absolutely loved was this Beetle, and it was 30 or 60-second television commercial, and it showed images of these people driving and happy in original nostalgic Beetles. And then it went to a blank screen of a road, and it went, when you do well in your life, you come back as something better. And then the new Beetle comes down the road. And still the same happy people. The Beetle was reincarnated, but better. Because it led us such an awesome life beforehand. That's the only Beetle commercial I love, and I remember.
What about the tank one?
I liked commercials. They were better than most TV. They
they
didn't matter
were.
to me. I didn't have. There was no money in my pocket to buy anything. I go, I don't know what you're telling me this for, but there wasn't. I didn't go, oh, I want one of those. I go, I'm not even going to think like that. What's the point?
Well,
was it a Beetle ad? I think it was a Beetle ad, which says, what does there's a picture of a guy getting up really early, like a farmer. It was a farmer in the North America somewhere, really cold morning, right? And this is the farmer. He's got to go to his tractor. What does the farmer drive to go and to go to his tractor? And then it showed you him getting in I'm sure it was a VW Bug. It's such a brilliant advert. It's like, he gets in a VW to go to his tractor because the VW always works. It was something like that. I'm pretty sure.
And something else. Do you remember that one with the tank where I think it was a Challenger tank, went along an army assault course, and next to it was a VW Beetle. And and at the end of this assault course, I think a crane picked it up and dropped it about 10 foot onto the floor whilst the driver was still in it. And there's a Chinese bloke. He just got out the car and just said, tough as old boots, and walked away. And that's all you heard, tough as old boots. And you see this car covered in crap and everything, and it had gone on this assault course. But what people don't realise is you had cars. Now the Mini Moke, that was a spring off from the Mini car because they used a Mini engine, but I think they actually made a similar one to the Mini Moke from a Volkswagen Beetle. I think there was a kit car for Beetles as well, because you could just put the engines in the back. Because they were very, very.
I'll tell you
easy.
what I loved about them as well, Eric. The Beetle, they had running boards, didn't they?
Yes.
Remember those little running?
Yes.
They were tiny, but they had them, and they looked so exotic. No cars had them, and they had them. And of course, you look at those old sort of sedans made in the 1920s and 30s with those running boards, and it just seems like such a civil. I want a car with running boards. There
That's
we
right.
go. I want one. So your mates can hop up and stand and talk to you as you're driving down the road, and then they can hop off like a bus. Brilliant. Loved that.
And you never had a frosted up rear window because the engine was at the back, and of course it blasted the heat at the back. But did you know why it was air cooled? It's because when Mr. H put out a contract to make a car for the people's car, nobody had garages, and that cars had to sit outside. And of course, I'm not sure if they had antifreeze in those days, and so it had to be air cooled. So it was air cooled. But
see, they thought things through back then, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right.
And of course, they were Germans. They were tough. Bring on the Russian front. We don't care.
It's great to swing it over to fascism and Nazis, isn't it? It's really good to end this first hour with the right thing.
Nazi cars. And I'll tell you
Nazi
something
cars,
else.
we love them.
Do you know that the Vibra, I think it's the Vibra wagon, which was the equivalent to the American Jeep, and some people say it was better, and that was the Volkswagen. It had an engine at the back.
No, that
and they
was the
modified
thing. It was the Volkswagen.
Anyway, I've got to.
thing.
You've got to hold on to your thoughts. Although, of course, these things shift. It's the end of the hour, end of the first hour. You listen to Paul English here on WBN 324, and it's time for a song. Now, Eric, I want to thank you for this song, and you don't even know why I'm going to thank you, but I'm going to.
Happy Days Here Again.
Group, no, we're not doing that. Although I'm itching to play it.
Oh, I wonder who this is.
I've only heard it 342 times, and it's not enough, right? No, I was in your Telegram group the other day, right?
Yes.
And I came across this little YouTube thing from, do you remember Jake Thackeray?
Oh, my hero. Oh, he was funny, he was.
Funny voice and talked like that. He came from
like
Kirkstall in Leeds, right? I used to go and buy loads of things. It's right near Kirkstall Market, right? So he's right in the centre of Leeds. Anyway, he's no longer alive. Anyway, I came across this. So I'm going to play this. It's about 4 minutes long. He's got a little funny intro as well. It's called La Di Da. Apparently, it's a wonderful song.
That was brilliant.
Do you know it? Do you not like that?
It was on my Telegram channel. I shoved it on there. That's where you got
just
it from.
nicked it today.
Yeah,
I'm an absolute, I'm a parasite, mate. I'll nick anything. I'll nick it.
What about...
It's not screwed down, I'll have it. Yeah.
A bloody funny nun. There's another one, a bloody funny nun, and that's about
too late
a criminal.
now. That'll have to wait. If you want your songs playing, you've got to get in touch with me. I can't do all this stuff. Anyway, look, here's Jake Thackeray for about 4 minutes. We'll be back in hour 2 after this.
It's often seemed to me that in matters of love and courtship, there is a curious arithmetic whereby the more beautiful the girl that you fall in love with, the more peculiar her parents turn out to be. My good friend Reginald Sedgwick married a very beautiful woman and a curious mother-in-law. For the 40 or so years that she's been using it, Mrs. Wilcox, for such is her name, has never yet got a grip on the English language. So, talking about a wayward nephew, she will say, he's only going through a phase. Or, there again, boasting about her husband's fine record as a 20-year motorist with no accident yet to his name, she will say, he's still got it, you know. He's no bones claimus. Sympathising with the Jews. At Easter time, she says, they've still got the Feast of the Flyover. The crunch came for Reginald when he took his beautiful wife round to the in-laws some time ago for a Sunday tea. You know, pilchards and trifle. Towards the end of the meal, Mrs. Wilcox picked up a little glass salt cellar, which she believes to be crystal, and holding it up to the light, said, if you look through there, Reggie, you'll see all the colours of the rectum. Here is a song for such as Reginald Sedgwick, who marry more than they bargain for. Now we're agreed that we're in love, we'll have to face the la-di-da. The eyewash, all of the fancy pantomime, I love you very much. I'll try, love, I'll bill and coo with your gruesome Auntie Susie, I'll stay calm, I'll play it cool. I'll let your tetchy uncles get me back across my heart. And I shan't get shirty when they say I look peculiar. I'll be nice to your mother, I'll come all over la-di-da. Although she always gets up me nose, I love you very much. And so I'll smile and I'll acquiesce when she invites me to caress her scabby cat. I'll sit still while she knits and witters cross my heart. And I shan't lay a finger on the crabby old bat face. I'll be polite to your daddy, frightfully la-di-da. Although he always bores me to my boots, I love you very much. And so I won't boo and hiss when he starts to reminisce. I won't drop off, I won't flare up the runs he used to score and how he won the war cross my heart. But I'll have to grit me teeth when he goes on about his rupture. I'll behave at the wedding breakfast, I'll be la-di-da. So help me, hearty toasts and crummy jokes, I love you very much. So help me, I'll force a laugh for the flicking photograph. So have no fear, I won't turn tail, I won't run amok when the females chuck confetti in my ears. And cross me heart, love, I'll keep off the pale ale when we're off on our own. No more lardy-bloody-da. I promise we just won't have the time. We won't have time for such fancy pantomimes. I love you far too much.
Attention all listeners. Are you seeking uninterrupted access to WBN 324 Talk Radio despite incoming censorship hurdles? Well, it's a breeze. Just grab and download Opera Browser, then type in WBN324.zil. And stay tuned for unfiltered discussions around the clock. That's WBN324.zil.
The views, opinions, and content of the show hosts and their guests appearing on the World Broadcasting Network are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of its owners, partners, and other hosts or this network. Thank you for listening to WBN 324 Talk Radio.
Well, you can't beat all the colours of the rectum, can you?
Well, it's a bit like Hilda Baker, who said, this old Chinese vase, it looks very old. Is it of the Ming dysentery? Sorry.
It probably is. And you know when he said pilchards and trifle? That's a great name for a band, isn't it, or something? It's fantastic.
Pilchards and trifle.
Yeah, it made me shudder. It made me think of sort of going over to Auntie's in the early 70s for salad.
That's right.
On days like today when it's really cold. Oh, no, we always have salad on a Sunday. You know, it wasn't anything hot about 5 o'clock. And there would be things like pilchards and trifle and all this cold cuts. Yeah, my grandma used to literally go through like a whole jar of piccalilli and
that's right.
Onions, pickled onions. Just couldn't leave pickles alone. Yeah.
And also, my auntie, she had a very clever budgie that used to let itself out of the cage. And when my uncle was outside picking some vegetables, the budgie flew straight out and landed on his shoulder. And he went, "Oh, hello, fella," and he just walked back with it on his shoulder, you know. And unfortunately, we went over there one Christmas, and the budgie used to sort of dive bomb people when they're eating their meals, and it dive bombed apparently before it got there, and didn't pull out the dive, went straight to the sago pudding, which killed it. So we had to sort of pluck bits of feather out the sago pudding.
That's dive bombing budgies. Eh?
Yes.
Dive bombing budgies.
Yes.
But yeah, pilchards and trifle. Somebody who I suspect has possibly just finished a bowl of pilchards and trifle is Monica Schaefer. And now that she's replete and full of pilchards and trifle, Monica, good afternoon to you. Welcome to the show.
Well, hello. It's never boring. It's never boring here.
No.
This conversation here. You can hear me all right?
We can hear you fine, yeah.
Okay, because I'm using a different microphone than usual, so I just thought I'd do that sound check question.
You sound even better. I've just given you a bit more volume. Don't you do anything. You sound great. You sound fantastic.
Okay.
Crystal clear, all the way from sunny Canada, or whatever it's like over there.
No, commie Canada. No, it's commie Canada now, isn't it? Communist
Eric,
Canada.
you're so demeaning.
You're right. You're right. Unfortunately, Eric is right. Unfortunately.
Well, from commie England. Hello.
Yes, hello. Yeah. Greetings to all of you. There's lots of people here.
Greetings, comrades. Greetings, comrades. Sorry.
Now, Monica, it's so long since we had you on the show, I've forgotten who you are.
Yes.
We last spoke in 2025. That's a whole year ago. I mean, it's just a long time back. Did you have a rollickingly good end of the year, whatever? I don't want to go all Christmassy, but I've got to acknowledge it a little bit. Oh yeah, and I want to say to you, Happy New Year to you, and a prosperous one, whatever that might mean in these times.
Yeah. Thank you very much. To yourselves as well. It's okay to say Happy New Year if you haven't yet spoken with somebody in the current year. I suppose we could do that up until summer or something like that. I don't know.
I do. I make a sort of point of being extremely eccentric about it, and also repeating it to people that I know I've already said it to quite a bit already. I keep wishing them happy. You already told me that. I said, yeah, I know, but I still want you to have a happy new one until I forget to say it again. It's just me being a bit of a weirdo. I do it on purpose.
But New Year is the 1st of April. Seriously, until they changed the calendar, it used to be the 1st of April, and that's what you got April Fool, because people carried on saying, "Oh, this is a new year," and they say, "Oh, it's an April Fool." But really,
does that mean I can do it all again, Eric?
Yeah,
do it
so
all
the
again?
1st of April, that is the new year, 1st of April. So really, I don't know what year it is at the moment because the calendar changed. But
We don't
people
know
got-
anything, do we? We don't know
No.
anything.
No. But by the way, Monica, as your brother, how is he? Is he still...
Thanks for asking about him. Tomorrow is his birthday, so
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Alfred.
yeah,
Fantastic.
that's
And
just
is he still in a German hotel, is he? Or
that hotel that is involuntary, but he doesn't have to pay for it. Not
what's
directly.
the food like there? Seriously
Not
though, is the
directly,
food very...
no.
What's the food like in those places? Is it dreadful?
No, I don't. I wouldn't say that. I mean, I can't really say what it's like for him because he doesn't talk about his day-to-day stuff like that. But I can go by my own experience of it back in 2018. And even though many of the prisoners complained incessantly about the food, it wasn't that bad, actually. And some days it was quite good, or some items were good and some were really not good. But then you could go get yourself, if you were quick, get yourself more of the things that were good and then stash it in your little tiny, like we had a sort of like a box, a cool box in the common room where we only had the access to that for an hour and a half a day. So you'd have to organize yourself. And if you have like jam containers or that kind of thing, keep them, because then you could use those containers to store stuff. And I made it work for myself. Plus, there is a shopping list twice a month that you can shop from to get extras. Like I would buy myself fresh fruit and nuts and coffee too. They don't supply coffee for some reason. They do supply tea and hot water, but coffee was something that was a luxury that you'd have to buy for yourself from money in your account if you were lucky enough to have money in your account. And I always had some money in my account, and some very kind people used to send me donations like €5 or €10 within an envelope that with a letter or that kind of thing. So yeah, I kind of made it work. And plus I was always thinking about my father, who spent time in one of those Rhine Meadows open air, camps post World War II. So those were the death camps.
That's right.
And that he was there, and he's a survivor of that, thank goodness. Otherwise I wouldn't be talking to you right now. But they got so little food that the men who came in strong and fit and healthy within a couple of weeks quite often would be, well, not only hungry and starving, but sick, because it was just so overcrowded. There was no sanitation, just basically ditches that they would dig. There was no shelter, nothing. I mean, it was unbelievable conditions. So they were hauling out truckloads of corpses every day. And my father, he says that probably between a third and a quarter of the men in where he was died, in the time that he was there in that camp, the Rhine Meadows. You've all heard about those, I'm sure. That James Bach, a Canadian fellow, he wrote about it in a book called Other Losses. I think it was something like 1989 that he wrote that.
Yep.
Yeah.
He did. Yeah, he did.
Poor souls. And we don't actually, I bet there's no memorial to those poor souls that died in those camps. I mean...
very scantly are they recognized. Yeah, you're right.
Nice.
I'll never forget when there was an actual, like a book review, you could say, a leading article in a mainstream magazine. I think the magazine had the word Saturday in it, like Saturday Night or Saturday Magazine, whatever it was called. It was a magazine that was like a mainstream publication, and it had a report about that book. And I'll never forget that. My father was, when he got his hands on that, he was pacing around the house with a truckload of emotions, both in, relief, finally somebody's talking about this, and of course, the anger about the whole thing, and just all the emotions you can imagine. And he was pacing around the house just saying, finally they're showing a little bit about the other side of things, not just always condemning the Germans and always, defaming the German and always talking about the horrors that the Germans did to everybody else. They're never talking about what was done to the Germans. And finally, somebody's talking about it. I'll never forget that. It was quite a time. Like, we knew nothing, us children. Well, we weren't children anymore. I was a young adult, but we just knew so little about that. And of course, we were very indoctrinated at the time. We fully believed all the indoctrination that had been put upon us about the World War II story, and you all know what I'm talking about. So, yeah, that was interesting times in our house. And then years later, as I'm learning more about the true history about all that really had a lot of, by that time I couldn't talk with my father anymore because he had already died, and my mother as well. And so I was very sad that I couldn't talk to my parents about those years anymore with my new understanding of it, my, new eyes, my opened eyes to it all. Because, can you imagine being Germans that had gone through the horrors of World War II, and then forevermore afterwards, the whole world is just so against you in terms of, not personally. My parents were very well loved in our, friends circle in Edmonton, where I grew up, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. They were they were appreciated and loved, but that was never really discussed. That this. Well, certainly true history was never discussed. And my parents came to believe the lies, just like everybody else came to believe it. Like most Germans, even if they went through the war, they came to believe it. Because, that's what my video is based on, is me asking my mom, why didn't you do something to stop these horrors? And she didn't say to me, oh, this didn't happen. She just said, we didn't know. We didn't know until many years later. Well, you and I, we can all figure out why they didn't know until many years later, because that's when the propaganda was getting into full force, right? And then they came to believe the things that were said about those camps. She said to me, well, we knew there were work camps, but we didn't know that, we didn't know anything about death camps. We just didn't know. So she replied very honestly to my reprimands. I was really, really traumatized learning all those things in school.
Well, I bet you were. Were you ever bullied, though, for being German? We had...
Oh, yeah. Day one.
Really?
Actually, day two in school in grade one. Not day one, but day two. Because
Really?
the children would have gone home and said, there's this very strange girl she's wearing an apron, a funny dress, and she's got an apron on. You see, I was wearing a traditional German dirndl dress. And on day one, and then day two, they all come back and they're Heil Hitlering me and taunting me,
Well, that's interesting, because when I was at school, we had a half German, and what it was a woman that lived, she worked on because, women were conscripted in this country, and we were very, very few countries where women were conscripted into the forces. And she was a land girl, and she met this POW because they illegally put POWs on the land. And he was in the tank regiment, and he was German, and they fell in love, and he stayed here. And of course, they produced the sons and daughters and that. And we held him in high respect. I'll never forget his name, Paul Schmidt. His name was, and we never bullied. It's a different attitude. We really respected the Germans. Seriously,
well, that's wonderful.
Isn't that weird? Because even though the countries were bombing each other, there was incredible respect. Whereas Canada, I don't think a bomb dropped on Canada at all.
No.
But it was all distant for Canada, but here it was right. Civilians have got killed and that, but there was no discrimination against them, as far as I know. As far as I know, there wasn't.
Yeah,
any.
That's nice. That's good to hear. I'm not.
I think
saying
it's possibly, isn't it? It's a case. It's not just particular to this incident, although it's obviously, of an intense nature. But if you look at all these incidents, it's almost as if from afar, the further you are away from where it actually took place, the greater the level of misunderstanding, or the easier it is to get the lie to take hold quicker, because people have got literally nothing to reference it about in terms of personal experience. They don't. And I was talking about... I haven't sent it to you yet, Eric, so I'm a very naughty boy, but I've mentioned it repeatedly on here, and I probably will continue to do so. This film by Peter Jackson, the guy that did Lord of the Rings, called They Shall Not Grow Old, which is an astonishing documentary about World War One. Have you seen it, Monica? Are you aware of it?
No, I'm not aware.
Okay, so I'll send you a copy. I'll have to find naughtily. I'll send you a naughty copy on the Naughty Net. It's a couple of hours long, and I think the themes in it would be replicated in World War II. It's slightly different, but obviously it's just about the great slaughters that are taking place in this trench warfare. But what Jackson did, because it came out in 2018, i.e. 100 years, of course, upon the anniversary of the end of World War One. He took all this old stuttering footage that you've probably often seen on documentaries, because it's quite all this stuff with missed frames and everything.
Yes.
And he runs it through his AI systems. And you have to say that this is where it really comes into its own. It's absolutely brilliant. And so everything runs at the right speed. It's colorized. All the images are sharpened up. And they've added sound because they got lip readers to lip read what these people were saying and look at their regiments and get them in the right accents. All this kind of stuff. There's a lot of attention to detail, and a very different story comes across. It's not a story that's absent hell. There's plenty of that in there, but there's a really telling bit towards the end. In the last half an hour, they talk about a ferocious battle that took place, and it's just you're listening to these guys that have come through it, because the voiceovers for the film are real World War One veterans that were interviewed and recorded in the early 1960s. The BBC decided to do something good with its money. Actually, it used to do a lot of good things. It's just morphed into this sort of sinkhole of depravity over the last sort of 30, 40 years, particularly. It was always there, I think, even in the 60s. But they interviewed all these veterans because obviously they expected them not to be around soon, very much. So the voices that you get are real anecdotes of people that actually went through these experiences, and it's astonishing the way that they describe it, sometimes extremely buoyantly. It's quite surprising. They're not like, it's not a modern view. It's a totally different view. But the bit during the last half hour is when they start to capture German troops at this battle. And there's one guy saying, he said, we started to catch them, and they were very glad to be caught, as we were, and they just wanted to be out of it. He said, and they were just like us, and they were young. They were 17 and 18-year-olds. I mean, some of these things. There's a guy, an English guy, was 14 and got in.
Yeah, isn't it amazing?
It's just unbelievable. And the guy... he's talking about the recruitment office. He said, when are you born? He said, so the recruitment officer says to me, he said, you better go outside and have a birthday. I mean, what a line. It's just amazing. So he went outside, had a birthday, came back in and got signed up. And these are fresh-faced lads that go into all this kind of stuff. And the Germans are exactly the same. And the English guys are saying, he said, the Germans were great. He said, we just really got on well with them. He said, they were just like us. They couldn't understand what's going on. They just thought war was absolute hell. And we all hate the politicians. Here we were blowing each other literally to bits. I mean, it's just absolutely horrific what's taking place there, right? It's a more concentrated slaughter. I think that's the thing that makes it sort of sickening. It's like an abattoir, basically. It's foul. And you just see him, and he said, oh, yeah, when the Germans came over, he said, they just helped straight away. They helped with stretchers and everything. And we just got on. He said, we're the same people. Going, yeah, you
exactly.
think
we were.
We're absolutely. You can see it on the film. You're just going, if you took the uniforms off and swapped them around, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know.
Brothers
absolutely
Wars.
Mad.
And we all
totally
remember.
Mad. Yeah.
That's I mean, we are the last generation, Paul, and I think Monica as well, that remembers the First World War generations, because although very young, I remember them, and they used to be all around where I lived, and there's a chap opposite. His job in the First World War was to drive. He drove a lorry backwards and forwards from the front, picking up the dead German bodies. He said, I had a lorry full of dead Bosch in the back of my car, and my lorry rather, and I took it to the cemetery. And he actually did that on a regular basis. He just got hardened to it. But when you look at the First World War, a film I'd like to see, and I've only seen bits of it on YouTube. I haven't seen it all the way through, but it really looks incredible. It was a German film company that did it. All Quiet on the Western Front, and I'm talking about the new version. I'm not talking about the 1930s.
Yeah, no, it does.
one.
I've seen. Yeah,
I've seen parts of it, and it's
it's
absolutely harrowing because the acting in it, the people would look absolutely bloody terrified, and you could tell that. Whoever they chose for the acting was absolutely spot on. And
I think they were. I think they were. Yeah, and there's another telling bit, Monica, that's really interesting. They were, and this also, I think this is a similar theme. You know, the football match that took place the first Christmas, and they knocked all that off, right, at a certain section of the line. So they captured some Germans who were from a Saxon regiment from Saxony. And they were glad and said, great, good. I've had enough of this, right? You know, I've lost most of everybody lost most of their mates. This is the thing that you get. They're in these, no matter what side you're on, if you came out of it, you just sort of can't believe it, really. They go, everybody died. You know, this battle this guy's talking about, he said, we were just walking on everywhere I looked, people just exploding around me. Literally, that's what's going on, right? He said, but we just kept on walking, doing it. He said, no, I don't know how I got out. He said, I didn't even get nicked. He said, one guy in front of me just, a shell just cut him in two. All this kind of stuff, He said, and I'd seen it before, so you just get on with it and do it, And he said, and one guy said he put a bullet in someone's head, one of his own guy, a German guy and an English guy, he said, I had to. He said, they were completely gone and it was the right thing to do. He said, I didn't feel bad about it. He said, I've sometimes thought about it afterwards. But when they got these Saxon people that had been captured, they said, yeah, he said, Prussians are coming there next week. Give them hell. It's really interesting. They hated the Prussians inside the German army, did the Saxon divisions. Very interesting. And because when they had the football match, it was against the Saxon regiment or whatever the German nomenclature is. And about 400 yards down the line, the Prussians were still fighting. Now, it's not a criticism, it's an observation. You get this thing, and you had it in the British Army with, people being taken out back and shot for not going over and all this kind of stuff. The thing is just basically, it's sick. That you really get it that it's sick. And you're also talking about food, weren't you, in the reverse, Monica, about 15 minutes ago, about people going to prison and losing weight. One of the things that's interesting during the, when they first go in, they said, yeah, I got signed up and I went in, and then they've got boot camp or whatever it is, basic training for 6 weeks. And they all said they absolutely hated it. I mean, they said it was just bloody awful. I wondered why I'd signed up.
Now you're talking about the army again, right? Not
I'm just talking about the army, yeah.
Yeah.
And however, there's this ridiculous statistic with these British lads that went in. He said that they had doctors measuring them and everything, and after 6 weeks, they'd all put on 1.25 stone, which is like 18 pounds in weight, and the average growth rate, they'd all grown 1.5 to 2 inches in 6 weeks. They'd just grown. Goodness. Yeah, and this journalist is saying, said, I saw these guys when they came in, and they were just basically, I guess what we would say the youth of today, doughy, weak, bloated, listless, really. Yeah. Because times were tough. Many of them signed up in the army to actually get fed. He said after 6 weeks, you looked at him and you went, whoa, men. I mean, look, I'm not saying this. Obviously, they were growing men to slaughter other men. Yes. But still, what we need is that, but without the combat at the end, please. That wouldn't be so bad, but...
Yeah, no, that's what you said earlier about these kids basically signing up, and then they're there. They don't know why they're fighting each other, and that they are just pawns. I mean, that says it all. That is so accurate, because they really are just pawns for, those who have instigated all those wars, the ones who are the bankers.
Who are doing it now. Who are doing it now. It's just in a different form.
And you think of Ukraine, you look at you see that it's not only the physical effects, but what about the mental effects, the after effects? Because there was a investigation done after the Vietnam War, and Australia was in Vietnam, and they found out that the suicide rate amongst the offsprings of veterans was 29% higher than the average. So it has an effect on the next generation. And I mean, I talking about the First World War, there's a chappie that used to have like a concave in his head. When you looked at his head, over his eye, it's like his skull was concave. And that was, and what happened is that when they went over the top, they had officers going along in the trenches with their revolvers, and they would threaten anybody that was terrified of going over the top. And what happened, he got up and a lump of shrapnel hit him in the head and knocked him back into the trench, and he was laying on the ground with blood pouring everywhere. An officer came along, undid the safety catch of his gun and of his revolver, and said, "Get over that top or I'll kill you." He said, "But I'm injured." "Get over that top or I'll kill you." And he had to run, get over the top, holding this piece of shrapnel on his head that had got into his head. That's what they were like. And they were just literally cannon fodder. And luckily, I don't know what happened, but he obviously survived. But he had to hold that shrapnel in his head whilst he ran forward. You know, and
unreal.
It is totally unreal.
Yeah, but I know, it makes you think if you stand back from it as well. So in that story, which, there's quite a few like that, you think, okay, the guy giving the commands is an absolute bastard. But what threat was he under? As I'm just asking that question. Maybe none, but they were. If they didn't do their stuff, they got court-martialed and ruined. It's like this line of fear that starts and runs all the way down it, and
Japanese
you get
army.
people doing the most right at the tail end, where the Tommy and hands are blowing each other to bits. They're just the result of this insanity up and down the line. None of them knew. You just see it in this thing. I'll send it to you, Monica. I'm not going to say you'll love it, but it is compelling. I watched it on Saturday for the second. I've only watched it once before when it first came out about 2018. Yeah, and I watched it again, and it's just a tremendous piece of work. It's an absolutely brilliant documentary to throw light on something that's buried in the past. And the reason these things should not be buried in the past, you don't need to sort of wallow in it all your life. I know you can get carried away with it, but it's just that it illustrates this point over and over and over again. There's really, although the form's different, and in that one of the things that they were saying is the reason why they found it so distasteful, that's not the right word, of course, but so repellent, was that it literally was industrialized slaughter. The weapons that they had for the first time were just awesome in comparison to things before. These machine guns and the sheer volume of ammunition, millions of shells in these small concentrated areas. You just go, well, obviously it's just designed as a human slaughterhouse. I mean, well, why would you keep on doing it? Well, we just push a bit harder. What are you on about, you lunatic? What's the point of this, And of course it's all made out that it was the Kaiser's fault. No, it wasn't. It was those blokes in London. Everybody knows whose fault it was.
Well, it's the hidden hand. The hidden hand.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what people don't realise, I mean, most of the First World War veterans didn't know what they were really, as you said, didn't know what they're fighting for. But we're told it was due to, in Serbia, Prince Ferdinand being shot. But the real fact of the matter was that Germany was building a railway through Turkey to bring oil into Germany because Germany was becoming very large industrially. And the British Empire didn't want that to happen. They didn't want to be outgunned. And when they found out that oil is far better for battleships than coal and much easier to pump and things like that, then, technology went forward. So Britain wanted a way of destroying this railway to destroy the German Empire. And what better way than the First World War? And what it was really about is to destroy that Turkish railway. That's it. People don't realise that. That's what and how the First World War came to an end is because the French army they mutinied and they refused to go to the front en masse, and the German Navy mutinied as well. That's what brought the First World War to an end, and they keep quiet about it.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think for the French as well. It was only 100 years since they were all completely wiped out during the Napoleonic Wars. Yeah.
Yes.
I was talking about height, wasn't I, with these English Tommies growing a couple of inches. After the Napoleonic Wars, the average height of a Frenchman dropped 3 inches.
Oh, wow.
Because all the strapping lads, the tough guys that they'd pulled out of the countryside, they all went off and died.
Yeah.
And so they didn't have any children and all this kind of stuff. I mean, this is, I know we're going over same old sort of ground, but it's the same thing. There's a nice comment here from John Pontes over on YouTube. He says, aside from winning, what is winning? It may differ from one to another. This also is a problem. No more wars, any wars, yep, except against our own rulers. Well, yeah, John, they've declared that and are conducting it against us, are they not? Right now. It's a different type. They're using different things because they don't want to slaughter all their cattle all in one go.
Well, they're doing it differently. They are.
Yeah, they are.
They are killing us by different methods and means. I mean, just think about the bioweapon that they rolled out the last 6 years now, and also what are they doing in the skies and spraying us and poisoning us by different means, and also reducing our fertility. So they're using different methods, but they are actively killing us. So it's just not with guns and bombs, and it's not trench warfare right now.
Well, walk into any supermarket, and what will you see right in front of you? Loads and loads of carbohydrates that are literally killers, because we're not meant to keep eating and eating and eating. Up to about just over 100 years ago, anybody that ate more than 2 meals a day was considered a gannet, and it was only Sal's that said that you should have 3 meals a day. Most people only ate once a day, and that was it. And it was mainly protein, not carbohydrate. Everything now is carbohydrate. So I guess it's the same in supermarkets in Canada. Carbohydrates all over the place. Chocolate and, and as I say, we've only got one stomach. Cows have got 4 stomachs.
I do like chocolate.
Monica, I like you even more. A day without chocolate is a day wasted, don't you think? I think it's phenomenal stuff.
Have you tried cocoa chocolate, though, from a place called Montezuma? It's 100% cocoa, no sugar in it. It's very nice.
Well, I've had the 90% chocolate, like where it is 90% cocoa, I guess you would say, or the real chocolate part of without the sugar and all that. But that more than 90%, that gets a little too much, too bitter for me.
Yeah, my sons keep insisting on 85%, and I say no. I'm a 70%er.
There you
That's
go.
Just about,
That's pretty good.
I like 70%. It's just about right for me, because it's like dead when it gets too intense. It's like there's no flavour with it, really. I go, well, I've got all my antioxidants, lovely, but I'm not enjoying the process, so I think I'll lay off.
I do like to enjoy my.
It's a treat, is it not,
Yes,
Monica?
yes,
It's a treat,
yes.
isn't it? It's a naughty thing, and you go, I'm gonna have a naughty thing every now and again. It's not that naughty, really. It's very good with red wine, but I can't drink red wine anymore now. I can't drink anything apart from tea and water. So that's it. I'm done for. Yeah, I don't know what's up with me. It's sad, really. Sad. Very, very sad. Well, anyway, in the last 2 months, anything... Obviously, the situation with your brother is a major thing, and we're glad he's having a birthday and that he seems to be okay.
Well, he is, actually. And I could just say a few more words about him, because we
please do.
Get very sidetracked just talking about the food and then the Rhine Meadows camps and all that. Took us down a whole nother
We're here to get sidetracked. This is a sidetrack show. Okay,
like
that's what we're here to do.
Yeah, but coming back to, he's got a prison job, and he's very much enjoying this prison job. He's a tailor now, and he says that the 3 previous prison workers who were in the tailor shop, they could read the Quran very well, but they could not read the manual for the sewing machine, so they went around breaking the sewing machine. And he knows how to run sewing machines very well, because he's been doing a lot of sewing at home. He has an industrial sewing machine at home. He's been doing these projects where he creates a weather protection thing if you are riding a recumbent bicycle. That's a whole nother story. But anyway.
Oh, that's interesting.
So he's a very handy man, my brother is. Regardless, even if he had never used a sewing machine before, he would be able to repair it and use it and all that. And he can read the manual too, you see. So he's fixing prison clothes in there. and he's doing very well. He's in good spirits. So just wanted to report on that. That's all. And yes, tomorrow's his birthday. And if people want to write him letters or cards or postcards or whatever, they could go to either of the websites that I have. One is the truthandjusticeforgermans.com or freespeechmonica.com. Both of those websites have my brother Alfred Schaefer's mailing address on there. And it's very, very important for political prisoners to get mail. And surely you might know of other political prisoners. I know there are so many, unfortunately. I know there are quite a few in your own country, in the UK, right? In Britain, because, I mean, the laws there are really one of the worst places on earth right now. Australia as well, but Canada is in hot pursuit. But anyway, there's lots of political prisoners. Now, what people can do is find out about political prisoners and then just write to them. And you don't have to know them. You don't have to have known them before they went to prison to write them a letter. Just start simple, just a greeting, a friendly greeting, and say, hello, I hope you're well and I support you or whatever. It doesn't have to be anything profound and in depth, but it's very important for political prisoners, just for their own well-being, but also for the so-called authorities to see that these people are not forgotten, that we are noticing, and that kind of thing. So I just wanted to put a plug in for people to think about that. If you have never written to a political prisoner, there's no day like today to start.
Is there any guidance, like, for example, I did hear that if you put photographs, and I don't mean physical photographs, but you have, say, something typed, and there's photographs that you inlay in what you've written, is it right they won't let that through, or they'll black the photographs out?
It's different in every country, I think. So I know that in Germany, at least the prison I was in, and I believe it's like this for Alfred where he is, because even within the country, there's going to be different rules in different places. But basically, those things do go through. Photos do go through, unless it's a photo of bombed out Dresden. I had somebody use a photo of bombed out Dresden of 1945, February, just a photograph of that. And she was using that as the backside of her letter writing. So she wrote her letter on the other side of that piece of paper. And they didn't let it through. They showed it to me in the office, let me read the letter, but said, well, we can't let you have this in your cell. Why not? Somehow this posed a danger for me to have that image of bombed out Dresden. I mean, it's unbelievable. So those kind of things might not go through. But if you just had a nice photo of whatever, yourself or the nature in behind you, your house, or, the local pond or whatever, birds, flowers, I don't know, cards, those things go through, postcards go through. And if you are in Germany or in the country of the political prisoner to whom you are writing, include stamps, because they need stamps to write letters back to people. Now, obviously, don't send stamps from your own country to a person in another country. That's not going to work. They're not going to be able to use them. So postage stamps. So, but you know what? Find out how it is in whatever country you're writing to. And the best bet is just to start with, a piece of paper, write it in black ink, and just write a few words, write a note and put it in an envelope, put the address on and the stamp and send it. And then you could even ask the prisoner, can I send you some photos? And they'll tell you, it'd be a nice...
The only trouble is they won't be able to if you're in another country, because they won't be able to send it back because they wouldn't have the stamps. Or can you buy stamps?
No. What I'm saying is that if you are writing to a prisoner and you have your return address on the letter and on the envelope, hopefully the prisoner will write you a letter back.
What, even in another country?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've been in correspondence with multiple political prisoners over the years in different countries. So yeah, they go all over the world. I mean, when I was in prison, I was getting mail from all over the world, every continent except Antarctica, I would say. Literally. So I was writing back to all those people. No, I don't know. There's no ban on crossing a border for a letter to get into a prison, to a political prisoner. I have heard of, well, for example, Matt Hale in the United States. By the way, he's still in prison and they don't let any mail in or out except from immediate family members. I used to have a very active correspondence with him until they restricted the correspondence to immediate family only, and they did that just after his mother died. I was just incensed about that. Like, he's been in prison for something like 22 years already, 40-year sentence. Anyway, when I was still corresponding with him, and he and Alfred wanted to write to him from the prison in Germany, and then that was returned to Alfred because the prison where Matt Hale was being kept, they did not allow him to receive mail from another prisoner. It was not a restriction from another country, but just from another prisoner in wherever. So that they deemed that too dangerous for one, especially, this was political prisoners writing to each other. They deemed that too dangerous. Unbelievable restrictions, but so it's going to be different from one place to another, Eric. But I would just say, just start with a simple letter, just no pictures, no photographs, no nothing, not like that. Just write a little letter with your return address, and then let that person can write back to you. You can start up a little correspondence. Then you can ask them those questions. What can I send you? And they will let you know.
How long's Alfred got to go before he's released? Or are they
well, we
it?
don't know that. You see, that's a very good question. Thank you for asking. So he is serving. Well, he's doing two things at once. He is actually serving a 10-month sentence right now, and that's from Augsburg, the trial that happened last August. The judge gave him the guilty verdict with a sentence of 10 months. And at first he sent him home because he says, not yet legally binding, go home until such time as it's legally binding, we'll send you a letter. 2 months later, in October 7th to be precise, the police just came to his place and arrested him and did another big house raid. And that was a big surprise because he was, everything was on the up and up. Like he wasn't hiding or running, and he was sent home, right? But it was a different jurisdiction. Now it was Munich, and they had a whole pile of charges against him that they've been gathering since 2022. And there were going to be so many charges against him that they deemed him a flight risk. We better go arrest him and put him in jail. And they haven't yet even set a trial date for that. So he is in jail. I think they call it on remand. So awaiting trial. At the same time, he is serving a 10-month sentence. But when that 10 months is over, by then they will probably have set a new trial and they will hang on to him. And who knows how much time he will have.
But just think, when things change, do you think just think of the amount of money you'll be able to claim back? Because I think he will be, political prisoners, as the late Dave Starbuck said, this system will collapse like a house of cards when we least expect it.
This is what Alfred says. The thing
is, and what do you think of, obviously he's illegally putting people into prison for things they say is bonkers. So I think he'll be able to get a lot of compensation, a heck of a lot of compensation.
I mean, it's not bonkers from their point of view, though, is it?
Oh, no.
No. It's obviously by design. The idea is to stop ideas and thought fields building up and spreading like an energy wave through people. They know this, and we know it now. You see this sort of the mood of the crowd. They want to control that. If they can control the mood or the attitude of the crowd, the content of what they're putting out doesn't matter so much as long as they've got you in a kind of prone or demoralized condition. And one of the fastest ways to do that is to actually nibble away at what you consider to be completely simple automatic freedoms, like the ability to communicate with one another. This is why they attack what you think is why are they having to go all this little stuff? Because it ain't little, because it's from that. That's the spark that gets everything going. And they know this historically. It's why they've controlled the press and the movies and all this kind of stuff to set the tone for the story. This is, the main problem. A main problem that we have is if you spend too much time listening to their story, you get enrolled in it. You become a character in it, and they're writing the script. Whereas what we're seeking to do here, and we're not the only place, is to build up a head of steam where we're telling our own stories more fully and talking about these things that apparently are too naughty to be talked about, because we're not grown-ups. We can't digest these things according to them.
I need not remind you, because I'm sure you heard it nonstop, that 2 days ago it was Holocaust Remembrance Day. And
was it?
Yeah, didn't the BBC?
I didn't remember.
Yeah, did the BBC not tell you about it like 24/7? But anyway, so here's a simple thing, very, very simple, that I think everybody can wrap their heads around, that truth does not fear investigation. Only lies need to be enforced by law. And we're talking about history, right? So how much sense, folks, does it make to make a law about something in the past that it either happened or didn't happen? Do you think that a law, so this is blots of toner on paper, as my brother likes to call it, do you think that those blots of toner on paper are going to make something be in the past? Like something happened or it did not happen. Does it make sense to make a law that says something happened or did not happen in the past?
Makes no sense.
No.
Well, from our perspective, it doesn't, Monica. You're absolutely right. But it makes, I try to, not that I like it, but you've got to, if you put yourself in their shoes and you look at what they do, it indicates what they consider to be the most important stuff.
Bingo.
That's really it. There's a really good comment in here from Sami Gorori. I probably pronounced that terribly wrong. I'm sorry about that. Writes, because ideas can be damaging to the state. People being raped or murdered are not a threat to the state. This is absolutely okay. It's to do with the condition of thought. They don't want you thinking a certain way, because that's going to lead to a change in your behavior, and that costs them more money or creates more problems for them. So, I think we talk a lot about food here recently, and we're going to keep on talking about it because it's pretty important. But I think it's fair to say that we are viewed as cows on a farm that are milked for tax and control purposes, and they don't want the herd starting to think for itself. Now they know that there's always been a very vocal sort of minority who they've never been able to condition, and that it will always be that way. What they're concerned about is that this infection, as they view it, would contaminate everybody else with thinking and considering these things. I mean, Albert's right in one sense about toner and stuff, but if you stand back and look at what they're doing, why do they do that? I mean, it's asinine. So why so much energy still into not being able to talk about that topic? It's not the only one, but it's certainly probably the most predominant one I can think about. It's the one that creates so much ruck. And the reason is that if it starts to roll and people do get exposed to things, those that want to, and they're still in the minority, but they could be a substantial minority, then it's going to breed a bigger problem. And that's why they send infiltrators into small groups immediately, because it's the most cost-effective way for them to deal with it. They don't want it spiraling out of control and people genuinely thinking about things and making observations about things that are truthful, because the truth, when it's heard by people, even though it's obviously pretty unpleasant, most of it, I would suggest, and there's a good reason for that, the truths that you hear that are unpleasant are because they've been suppressed so long. That's what's unpleasant about them. It's because you're suddenly faced with something, you go, but I never even thought about that. You're confronted with your own stupidity and your own lack of inquiry throughout your life, and you suddenly go, but what a thicko. And most people can't say that about themselves. This is why you get this sort of adamant righteousness about people. That makes them very easy to control. Look at the jibby-jabby nonsense. Once people had committed to the fact that you've all got to do this, and those of you that don't need to be shot. I mean, I saw a post, Eric, in your Telegram thing about this, a sort of whole series of clips of people like Piers Morgan and all these other guffmongers about 5 or 6 years ago, just coming out. Now, are we ever going to get them on the carpet and confront them with this? Because what the evidence now clearly shows is that they were basically pushing something that was harming people. But they will not be able to admit it. And it's not because there isn't the truth there to contradict them. It's that they will never, ever be able to see it. Literally like a psychological barrier. It doesn't happen. It can't happen. It's why sort of armies thunder on slaughtering people, because the generals are right. And nothing on earth is going to stop me being right. I don't care how many men have got to die for it. I'm right. And it's literally that. It's something like a basic flaw in certain clusters of human beings who've got together. We call them parasites. We call them psychopaths. It doesn't matter what name we call them. They have a sort of certain behaviour convention, and they're not of us. They're not pleasant peasants. They're extremely predatory parasites. And there's a division.
Governments, I think, are demonic psychopaths. That's a full stop. I really do believe that governments are demonic psychopaths. They've got to be to do the job. And I've often said that, Dr. Hare, who's a Canadian leading authority on psychopaths, has come very, very, very close. And psychopaths are in all races, all religions. They're everywhere. They're a very small percentage, but he's run very close to saying that they are a subspecies. They are different from us. And this is why I think that we should treat them with respect. They have as much right to live on this earth as we do, but away from us, because governments, more people have been killed by their own governments than all the wars put together. And folk throughout the world generally get on fine with each other. It's just the government.
I think it's all the time. You could say that nearly every single war is carried out by governments who are carrying out the instructions of the banking cartel in simple terms. Because if the banking cartel would not provide the funds to provide the armaments, no one would be getting killed. It's as simple as that. They've built an economy that has as a stopgap war every single time. When it gets into trouble, they get people to be slaughtered. And this goes back to the English Civil War and beyond that. But we know who funded Cromwell's army. You know who funded Napoleon and the British army to kick 10 bells out of one another. It's the same. Same in the US Civil War, so-called war between the states. I think is a better descriptor for it. And it's just the same blue. And it's going on. It's been going on now in the Ukraine. It's the same thing. So those that have been those acolytes, as it were. The ones that Christ said, you scour the earth to find an acolyte and make them twice the creature of hell than you are. That's the bridgehead. In other words, it's psychopaths and nutcases, the ones that resent their own people, literally race traitors, whichever race it is. They exist in all races. That's the means by which the infection gets in. It gets to the top of the power tree, and suddenly millions of men are dead over a 5 or 6 year period, and civilians, unfortunately, of course, in World War II.
And who cares afterwards? But when you think about it, who cares about the Vietnam War today? Who cares about Korea? Who cares about Cyprus and places their countries have been in where poor souls have been maimed and killed? Who cares about it afterwards? No, it's all wars are fought by forgotten heroes for lost causes. That's basically it.
Basically, back to that. The 2 days ago was this Remembrance Day, the big lie there. So that's the linchpin lie. I call it the linchpin lie. Back to that one. I mean, those who are always crying victimhood are behind all these wars. They say, I know you have to be careful over there in Britain.
I think, what, Monica,
still,
I think there's many ways to skin that communications cat. I think there is a more deft way to deal with that topic and several others. That's just me. I'm not meaning to sound cocky as if I've got some answer. I just think that different approaches could be taken. Anyway, one thing I know is that we're just coming up to the end of the second hour, so we're about to depart from our time slot with WBN 324. So we say goodbye to you here on WBN. We'll be back again same time next week. If you want to carry on listening to the show, we're running on for another hour. If you get over to paulenglishlive.com, you can find the links. Also, I'll be on with Ria this week in the last hour, which is 2 to 3 p.m. UK time, 9 a.m. US Eastern, but the show starts at a lovely chirpy 6 a.m. US Eastern on Sunday. Always a cracking listen, so you might want to tune in for that. I've no idea what we're going to talk about. We're going to play a little song anyway over the break. First I'm going to play something about chickens, because it's very important that we have some comedy about chickens. We'll be back after these couple of little tracks.
The enormity of their flat brain, the enormity of their stupidity is just overwhelming. You have to do yourself a favor when you're out in the countryside and you see chicken. Try to look a chicken in the eye with great intensity, and the intensity of stupidity that is looking back at you is just amazing. By the way, it's very easy to hypnotize a chicken. They're very prone to hypnosis, and in 1 or 2 films I've actually shown that.
Hey everybody, gather round. I'm here to give you anything you like. You want free college, energy, mortgages, whatever you like. You have come to the right place. Why? I'll tell you why. Who can take your money?
Who can take your money?
With a twinkle in their eye.
A twinkle in their eye.
Take it all away and give it to some other guy. The government.
The government.
The government can.
The government can.
And who can tax the sunrise?
Who can tax the sunrise?
Who can tax the trees?
Who can tax the trees?
Let you run a business and collect up all the fees. The government.
The government.
Oh, the government can.
The government can.
And the government can, 'cause they mix it up with lies and make it all taste good.
Make it all taste good.
The government takes everything we make to pay for all of their solutions. Healthcare, climate change, pollution. Throw away the Constitution. And who can give a bailout?
Who can give a bailout?
Tell us to behave.
Tell us to behave.
And make the founding fathers roll over in the grave. The government.
The government.
Oh, the government can.
The government can.
And the government can, 'cause they mix it up with lies and make it all taste good.
Make it all taste good.
The government takes everything we make. They're power hungry and malicious. Their economics are fictitious. Soon we'll have to eat our dishes.
Delicious.
Oh, who can be a failure?
Who can be a failure?
In so many ways.
In so many ways.
And instead of getting fired, hey, we'll give ourselves a raise. The government.
The government.
Oh, the government can.
The government can.
And the government can, 'cause they make it up with lies and make it all taste good.
Make it all taste good.
And your Uncle Sam can, 'cause he mixes it with lies and makes it all taste good.
Makes it all taste good.
And I feel so good, 'cause the government says I should.
Oh, isn't that lovely? That's Tim Hawkins. The government can. They can send you to war as well and all that kind of stuff.
Hey.
And whilst, yeah, well, we were having a go at the government. We're sorry, government types, but we think you're crap. Anyway, Alice Gorgeous. She mentioned, hi Alice, I know you're in there tonight. She sent me a letter this week, was handwritten letter by her grandfather, and I managed to decipher most of it, Alice. It was, most of it was good, but there's a couple of words in there I couldn't get. Anyway, I want to read this letter out. This is from Well, let me just read it. I don't know when this was. Maybe Alice can type it. I don't know what year this was written because there wasn't a date on the letter. But let me just read you this. It's just to show you that things really don't change. It says it's addressed to His Majesty or Her Majesty's Inspector of Taxes, because I don't know what year it is, West Street, Revenue Building, Sheffield. It's exciting already, isn't it? I can hear you all, with bated breath. It goes as follows. Dear Sir, for the following reasons, I am unable to meet your demand for income tax. I have been bombed, blasted, burnt, sandbagged, walked upon, set upon, held up, held down, flattened and squeezed for income tax, beer tax, spirit tax, super tax, tobacco tax, purchase tax, motor tax, and every society or club tax that the inventive mind of man can conceive to extract from what I may or may not have in my possession for the Red Cross, Black Cross, and every other cross and hospital in town or country. My government have governed my business until I do not know who the real owner is. I am inspected, suspected, expected, informed, required, and commanded, so that I do not know who or what I am or why I am here at all. All that I know is that I am supposed to have an inexhaustible supply of money for every need and desire of the human race. I am cursed, boycotted, talked about, lied about, held up, rung up, robbed, and damn near ruined. The only reason I am clinging on to life at all is to see what the bloody hell is going to happen next. Yours faithfully, and I've signed it here, Alice Gorgeous's great gorgeous granddad. I thought you all ought to hear that. Alice, it's a cracking
lovely
letter.
Man.
What a great
lovely
bloke,
man.
top bloke. He would have been listening here had he still been with us, but that was a fantastic letter, Alice. So thank you so much for sending it to me. And although I didn't ask permission to read it out, it's too late now. I think you wanted me to anyway, so I don't think I'm in too much trouble. So, we just thought I just thought I'd lob that
Bless
in.
him.
There you go.
Bless
so
him.
we can carry on bashing the government, or we can bash whoever we like, So... it's a great letter. It's fantastic. So, yeah, Alice, pity you didn't write more like that, but that is a cracker. You can sense the vigour and the energy, and of course he's addressing the same thing. The government is a predatory, parasitic organisation that always overextends its remit. It's really, I was reading stuff by Frederick Bastiat, unfortunate surname, I suppose, French guy, lawyer, wrote a thing in 1850 called The Law. And he talks about this. And basically what he's saying is it's only really got one purpose, which is to create the conditions to protect us, which, of course, is a worry because it always turns into a protection racket, which it is. And that protection racket is now where it seeks to stick its nose into every part of our business about what you can say, what you can't say, what you can do, who you can offend, who you can't offend. This is offensive, that's offensive. You must allow this, you mustn't allow that. You've got to be taxed on this. I think the list of the taxes he gave were just... there are over 400, by the way, Monica, in the UK, 430, I believe, different taxes over here. We love them. We love taxes so much. We can't get enough of them. I don't know how many you've got in Canada, but it's probably quite a few. It won't be far off 400. I bet it won't.
It might be. By the way, Monica, you mentioned that your brother has recumbrance. Is he a keen cyclist? Is he still there, Monica? Still there?
It says device is not connected. Oh, she's sort of exasperated. She's evaporated during the show. So Monica, if you're hearing this, no, she's still sort of lingering.
Oh, hang on. She said, not sure what happened to my connection. I seem to have been dropped. I will drop out and re-enter. Do you see this message? No, we don't actually. Yeah, we do actually.
Well, she might not be able to hear that, but yeah, that's cool. Oh, that took the thunder out of it. I thought I was just building up to a crescendo there.
I know.
Oh, it's always the way with live radio. Never mind.
Well, perhaps Trudeau's listening.
Here we go.
Oh, hello, Monica.
Oh, can
You've
you
just been down the pub, Monica.
Yeah,
is that what happened?
No, Trudeau's been on, and he's been listening in. He didn't like it, so he pulled the plug. So there we go. But I was going to say, is your brother a keen cyclist? Because you mentioned recumbent cycling. No, I just wanted...
He's really into these recumbent bicycles, has been for years, decades in fact. Decades.
Yeah.
And so then his goal was to be able to ride in a real downpour, a rain, and not get soaking wet, because on a recumbent bike, it's different. You're low down and you've got your feet out in front of you and water will splash up under any, So anyway, he designed and patented the hardware that mounts to the bicycle and then sews these capes that go over top. And he's made it so that it takes like maybe 30 seconds to mount, to put it on once this contraption is mounted on the bike that he's made. And he's designed it all himself and made many changes in the template to make it really perfect it, right? And so then if suddenly a rainstorm comes up and you're riding your bike with your 3-piece suit and tie to work and you've got your briefcase on your carrier behind you, that, you don't want to get to work soaking wet and looking like a total, rat. And so he designed this beautiful cape with some hardware bits that will keep you high and dry, even if a really bad rainstorm. And that's what he has been making. And he goes to these fairs, like to have his display table, and has sold these. And so he has industrial sewing machine at home and has been creating those. And I'm not sure if his website is still up. Maybe after I mute myself, I'll check if the website is still up. AWS Arbeiterschutz. I have to look it up, and then I'll tell you what it is, and we can see.
Oh, that's brilliant, because
images.
They're very expensive. That's the trouble with recumbents. They're very expensive bicycles to make, but apparently they are fantastic because you can go faster than an ordinary bicycle because you're so low.
You're very
It's
efficient.
interesting.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
efficient.
it's interesting because isn't it basically a recumbent is a human-powered version of the Sinclair C5? They were recumbents, weren't they?
I don't know what a Sinclair C5 is.
Oh, Monica,
dear.
we'll have to get you one if we could find
yes.
one. It's an electric plastic death trap. We were talking about earlier. It was an electric vehicle created in the 1980s, and it's mad as a box of frogs. Believe you me, I'd prefer but you basically are lying down in this electric car that was allowed on British highways. Good grief, I know because I went in it, and your head's about 2 feet off the ground or something. So when cars go by you, you're expecting to really lose your head under a wing mirror or something. You were back then. It's pretty intimidating. It's not for, I was going to say the faint-hearted, but it's not for the sane. Let's put it that way. It's not for the sane. But a recumbent bicycle, yeah.
It's
yeah,
eccentric.
it is. It's like, it's a very English sort of thing. You smoke your pipe while you're doing it. So you leave a little trail of pipe smoke, like an old steam engine, as you're really low at the ground and chugging along at 13 miles an hour or whatever it was. No, it went a bit quicker than that. But
you do paint a good image. That's beautiful. Smoking your pipe as you go along. But yes, on a recumbent bicycle, you're a little bit lower. So you do want to, like these outfits that he made, they would, of course, have very good reflective material. And usually on his own recumbent bicycle, he would have a little flag, like a one of those poles sticking up with a flag on it to make him more visible.
I know what you mean, yes.
And yes, it's human powered. You're pushing, you're pedaling, and they're wonderful. Like I've just tried it out a couple times when I was visiting him in Germany years ago, and they're wonderful. It's a little bit to get used to it. The balance on it and the steering on it, it's a little bit different. And there are different varieties of recumbent bicycles. I think some of them are easier than others, but I think, a really efficient one where, it's just wonderful. You really can go fast.
Well, I'm a keen cycling. I mean, I love cycling. And what gets me now is the amount of cycles. To me, a bicycle isn't a bicycle unless it's got drop handlebars. And if it's got straight ahead handlebars, and now most of the bicycles you see around are straight handlebars, not dropped, and I can't understand why. Because when you're cycling along, it's more efficient to get down into the wind and things like that. And you're more aerodynamic.
So on the recumbent, you're kind of down, but you're the opposite direction. It's like you're in a sofa, like in a comfy chair.
Yeah. The only trouble is hills. Hills are a bit of a problem. That's why they have electric ones, because they're not as efficient. Because what you can do, you see, on an ordinary bike, you stand on the pedals and you stand up to get up the hill, whereas you can't do that on a recumbent. That's the only downside.
Gear way down.
Yeah, very well down. Yes, but there's
just to let you know, chaps, you were cut off for a little while.
I was.
It's too embarrassing, and just to let everybody out there. No, it was the best part of the show. Monica and Eric were just firing off. It was just absolutely brilliant, but only I got to hear it. And it won't even be on the recording. There was a gremlin. Yeah.
Perhaps. Hang on a minute.
I'm frazzled.
perhaps
Believe
it's
you
a
me,
forbidden
I've reached
word.
my mental capacity. I'm absolutely melting. I'm just going, it's time for a gin. I just need to go somewhere else. Too
But
many
Paul,
bloody buttons and things. God,
Maybe it's a
Sorry.
forbidden word, and I'm going to have the police saying that I mentioned recumbent bicycle. Perhaps it's perhaps.
I've probably saved you. I've probably saved you from the knock on the door. You know?
Yeah.
That's right, because recumbent bicycles. I said it. Oh, blimey! I'm gonna. What do you think? About 6 years in jail for that one for saying recumbent bicycles. Oh, 7
I think
years.
bicycle talk. Yeah, bicycle talk is really getting quite. Yeah, be pretty dangerous stuff now. You can't talk. You can't criticise other people's bicycles. No, you can't
No.
do that.
No.
Particularly if they're of a different religion.
It
If they're a
might
different
hurt-
religion, bicycles, you can't do that. It's wrong.
It's going to
Yeah.
hurt their feelings if you criticize other bicycles.
Can't do that.
Yeah.
Can't do that. Fortunately, my feelings in life have never been hurt. I bet yours have never been hurt either, have they? Never.
Oh, never.
Never.
Ever.
No. When you think about things, you just your feelings just never get hurt. Actually, that really is the solution. Really,
But-
if you can actually think about things, you won't. You'll just you go, hang on, just a minute, I can deal with this. It's part of part of growing up and being British or Canadian or whatever you might happen to be. You've got to. It's all part of it. It's part of the fun of being a desperately furious human being in this
But-
lunatic asylum. You know.
My bicycle identifies as a Harley Davidson motorbike. But the exhaust is a bit strange because I had some Brussels sprouts the other morning and I think the exhaust might have blown.
Yeah.
So-
Well, I wouldn't talk badly around your bicycle because I don't want it to feel bad. It might
No.
throw you off, you see. It could get all a bit uppity.
Oh, hang on a
couldn't it?
minute.
So-
I've got an idea for your brother. I think I've got a cracker here. Could
What,
he
my
say,
brother?
No, not your brother. No, Alfred. Now, I'm
Yes, I
thinking,
know.
could Alfred say that he identifies as a recumbent bicycle, so therefore he can't get arrested?
I think that's great.
So he could say that I identify as a recumbent bicycle, so how can you arrest me for saying something? Because recumbent bicycles cannot speak.
Or identify as a zebra and say, look, zebras don't belong in this jail for people, so send me out to
Yeah.
I'll go to the zoo or
Go
something,
graze,
and
yeah.
maybe he'll go to the zoo for a while, and
Yeah, because you've got to identify something.
I think one of the aspects of jails as we know them, this is maybe a secondary benefit to our would-be controllers, is that because there's jail, everybody that's not in it thinks that they're not in a jail. They go, I'm not in that jail over there. You go, yeah, that's right, you're not in that one.
you know,
another one.
it's so true what you're saying. There's a famous old philosopher, I don't mean old, just mean long gone, that said something to that effect, that those who believe themselves to be free are the most enslaved, or something along those lines. Do you recognize that?
Goethe.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Or,
Yeah.
as I was saying last week in a northern accent, goeth, as well. It's completely wrong.
Yes, it is.
Goeth, that German lad. Yeah, that's what he said.
Good.
There are none so hopelessly enslaved as those who believe themselves to be free. That's the gist of it, isn't it?
And that's
Yeah, he's
really
right.
the world we're living in right now. Is the epitome of that. I think.
You're
Well,
right.
you're
spot
trained
on.
to enslave your own thoughts. That's what this language control is. You end up self-censoring. And, to some degree, you do need to do that. You don't want to be blurting out with inappropriate remarks when you're around at the Vickers and all the ladies are there. This would be not on, it would be bad form. You don't want to be doing that. But I can't imagine that the troops in World War I were censoring their speech. In some of those quotes in that thing, there's a guy saying, I never knew such words existed. And he said, we were walking back from one thing. He said the language was it was hotter than the fire. It was that excessive. People just, you've got to communicate in that way. It's, slaughterhouse language is appropriate when you're in a slaughterhouse, I think. So, yeah. Anyway, so... Yeah, no more self-censoring, everybody, although I'm doing it all the time, and I know my guests are, because they're extremely prudent and wise. And but you, anybody listening in that's from the other side, you ought to hear what we're thinking. God, it's naughty.
isn't it?
Oh, I just had another one. Yeah, I've said it before. If you have a bad thought, you should go and arrest yourself. And say, I've just thought something really bad. It's so bad I can't tell you what it is, but it was really wrong. And I think I've committed a crime by having bad think.
We had somebody else just chiming in, except for me. Maybe who was that? You're thinking about recumbent bicycles, surely, right?
No. No, I'm thinking about self-censoring and how I fail miserably at that.
Whoops, it come out. Oh, sorry about that.
Yep. Sorry, governor.
Yeah. Well, what's that thing about mouth responsibility? It's pretty good, isn't it? You need to be careful with your mouth, what you put in it and what comes out of it. And it's pretty true. And also the other one, the old adage, 2 ears and 1 mouth. And if you can learn to use them in that proportion, I can't, by the way. If you can, you're on your way to wisdom. This is why I'm just a fool all the time, blathering around, talking too much. But yeah, it's. I think it's true. I think maybe as one acquires a little bit of humility as the years go by, and it's only a smidgen, I suppose, along the way, you tend to calm down a bit. And when you become a good listener, it's quite intimidating to the communicator. Have you noticed that? When someone gets serious and quiet, just sat there listening to you going, oh, am I really talking shit or not? I don't know. From the look on their face, it looks as though I am. I don't know. I'm not getting any feedback here. So
actually, Paul, that I've
Yeah.
never heard that, but it's so basic and obvious and straightforward. The what you just said about 2 ears and a mouth. That's a perfect way of putting it, that one should use them in proportion to the fact that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. I've never heard it said that way. Very good. Thank you.
there you go. See, it's a handy one. You can take it out to Canada now, and they'll all wake up, and then you can overthrow the government. There we go. Why doesn't Canada do it first? Go on, do it first in Canada. It'd be great. We don't mind. We've had civil wars. America has had one. You haven't had one of it. Go on, kick it off. Get it going, Monica.
Oh, there's been plenty of war in
the
Canada.
maple syrup wars. It'll be just fantastic. Count me in. It'd be great. I'd come over. Yeah.
No, that only happens in Virginia and Maine. In the U.S., they have maple syrup wars.
Yeah. Is it cheap?
Northeast.
Is it cheap in Canada, maple syrup?
Oh gosh, no. It's the most valuable commodity. Like when was that heist, the maple syrup heist that took place? It was like the most valuable, most expensive crime. Like the value of maple syrup is pretty much almost like gold. They might as well just have taken a truck of gold. That's how high value it was when a truck of maple syrup was stolen. And I don't know the details of it, but it was like just huge value to this. And so, that's like somebody breaking into the safe in some big central bank and stealing all their gold or something when they made a whole bunch of maple syrup.
Really?
It's very expensive, very expensive. I mean, it's like gold, liquid gold.
Well, I've got some that's 20 years old. Is it? Oh, no, sorry, I'm over that. I should say it's almost 40 years old. Would that still be palatable after 40 years?
I wonder if it's just like honey. Like honey, you could have 1,000 years later. And I bet you it's like that. And somebody's answering. Go ahead. Somebody else is talking there.
The reason maple syrup is so valuable is because it takes 5 gallons. You get 5 gallons of sap from a mature tree, and it takes 40 gallons of sap to boil down into 1 gallon of syrup. So if you have a truckload of syrup, it literally came from thousands of trees and burned thousands of dollars in fuel to boil it down to 1/40th of its sap consistency. That's why it's so expensive.
Thank you so much for that explanation.
But
if it's cheap, it's probably watered down. So don't get fooled by Costco or wherever they might be selling it quite cheaply, right?
And look on the label. If it says may contain high fructose corn syrup, put it back on the counter.
Oh no, I wouldn't say that. Oh yes,
they do that with honey.
Really?
Yes, they have artificially flavored honey that's base is high fructose corn syrup. So basically, it's useless.
Yes.
And,
tastes like honey.
So I can consume it. I'll be all right to have it, even though it's 40 years old. Would it be perfectly okay?
Should be fine.
So it's really easier to produce honey. I could become a part-time apiarist. I want to, simply so that I can say the word apiarist a lot, because it's just the most fantastic word for looking after bees. It always makes me think that I'm looking after little flying monkeys, little flying apes. It's just weird. They're not apes. But so if I grow maple trees, I need a lot of land. And
Yeah,
if I
and-
grow honey trees or bees, I don't need as much. Is that right? I don't. do I?
2-foot square box. A 2-foot square box beehive, you can go into the honey and beeswax business. But you would need a mature tree, which would be between 30 and 40 years old. And you would only get 5 gallons of sap from each tree. And
Each
that
year?
would boil.
Do you tap
Yeah.
it every now and again? Do you?
Yeah, you tap it
Okay.
every year. And that would boil down to 1/40th of that volume. Or like, what, a quart?
I'm never going to view my maple syrup and banana pancakes on Saturday morning in the same light now. I'm going to think as though I am literally drinking and eating liquid gold. It's that expensive,
are.
isn't it? It's fantastic.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love maple syrup. It's very, very pleasant indeed. It really is. And we do get the pricey stuff, but no doubt that's pricey and still crap. It's still probably not the real gear. So, yeah, we need to set up an underground maple syrup distribution network, Paul. Come on, get to it.
Amish,
The people's maple syrup. Yeah, is that
Amish farmers, if they produced it, you can eat it.
We haven't got any Amish farmers over here, have we? Well, there might be one, but I don't know.
Well, hop in the
Well,
rowboat and
very
come on
lonely.
over.
He's very lonely.
Yeah, there's only one.
Well, there is.
Name's
there is
Bert.
one.
He's got a horse, but you know.
Yeah.
Yes. But, well, apparently he's also did a pile up on the motorway, and they said drive slowly and treat it as a roundabout. Sorry.
They just started putting those in this country, and they just make absolutely no sense. You got
roundabouts.
Oh,
I've got loads of-
I love them. I grew up with one just in the neighborhood, so I know them well, and I think they're great. But it only makes sense in a certain volume, traffic volume area. Like you can't have it when the traffic volume is really high. It needs to be sort of medium to low volume where they do make sense if they're in the right places, and I love them. I think they're great. But see, I'm just familiar with them. Yeah, go ahead.
They put them in because they're cheaper than off-ramps and overpasses. All they do is do this circular road in the middle of the road, and they don't have to sell as many bonds to make an intersection somewhere out on a state highway somewhere. That's the only reason they do it. It's all about the Benjamins.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
How would
Do you
how
call 'em-
much? If you could take a circular road with like a stone thing in the middle of it, like maybe plant a tree to keep the tree huggers happy, how much would it cost you to do that and some signage as opposed to off and on ramps on both sides and an overpass so crossing
Or lights.
traffic could
I
get
mean,
over the highway?
Or
lights.
traffic lights,
Yeah,
right?
or
That's-
traffic lights.
Yeah.
Which would
Well,
be
is it-
cheaper?
Well,
know.
obviously the roundabout, but I'm thinking of within the city where I grew up, there were lots of these roundabouts, and they made total sense where they were located. It's just not huge traffic in those areas, and it just flowed really well. So
Yeah.
that wouldn't have been a place for an overpass anyway. But yeah, whatever. I think in different places it makes sense.
We have. I mean, do you call roads motorways freeways in Canada? Is it the same as America? Are they freeways, or do you call them something else?
Well, freeways are highways. We call
Oh,
them
I see.
highways, or sometimes
But
they're called freeways.
over here, there's a chap. He's on YouTube, and we've got big roundabouts with trees on them, and he actually makes a point of camping on these roundabouts.
Wow.
Because some of them are quite big, and they've got like little mini woods on them, little forests on them. So I wouldn't say forest, but they're not that big, obviously. But there's one, and so I should think it'd be a bit noisy to camp, but he reckons it gets a bit quiet around about sort of 11 o'clock at night, and he builds up a bit around about sort of 5 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock.
That's
So,
very.
If the Bobbies ever tried to touch his groove for camping on a public roadway, he can just tell him, I'm providing a free service to the city by watching out for litterers.
That's a good idea, yes. No, he does this in the country, though, because there's a big one in Harlow, which I don't know if you've heard of Harlow, but Harlow is slightly left of Chairman Mao. and that's a place where they've got Valinsky Avenue and what's his name, Mandela Avenue as well, you see. And they've got a massive roundabout there. I mean, it's a biggie. And it's quite interesting because it's got loads of trees on it. We've got a whopper where we are. Whoa, you know, that's what a roundabout is, you know. And you could camp on there without anybody knowing. Because how would the police stop? They'd have to stop on a roundabout, wouldn't they? It was a bit dangerous, isn't it? So there we go.
That's pretty
How does
funny.
he get there? And where does he park?
Yeah, that's right.
No,
Where does he leave his car?
he walks there. I don't know. I don't think he goes by a car. I think he just walks there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're not allowed actually to walk on motorways or freeways where I think it's probably the same in America and Canada, isn't it?
Some places, but just very. Yeah, that's I suppose the 401, in Toronto area. That's completely different, and that's interesting that you say about somebody camping in a roundabout. The roundabouts I'm thinking about that just wouldn't be possible. They're like tiny things.
Oh, we have whoppers. That's the thing about Britain. We have, when it comes to roundabouts, we have whoppers. Have you got a whopper where you are, Paul? Down in a whopper roundabout, big ones.
What, me?
Yeah, I mean, I'll do Hertfordshire roundabouts. Outdo.
No, we're kind of whopperless round here. It's all sort of, I can't think of a whopping big roundabout. I mean, there might be one at Wapping, I suppose, but that's not down here, is there? No, it's all a bit sort of countrified round here, all that. Whenever you say country, you always start talking like that, really.
Wow.
We have
Yes,
little
you do.
ones. We have little ones.
Oh,
Where,
I'm sorry to hear that, Paul. We've
Yes.
got very big ones over here. We're Englishmen.
We've got whoppers,
We've got weavers.
We try to not let it take a whack at our self-image, but we have small ones, even if they're on like a 2-lane or a 4-lane state highway. It's a 55 mile an hour zone coming up to it, and you've got to slow down to like 15 miles an hour to go around this thing because it's so damn small. I would love to see a larger roundabout where you could like go around the thing at like 25 or 30 and just, barely interrupt your travels, especially if you were going straight through. That would
we're
make
spending a
sense.
Harlow, you can.
Well, you wouldn't
yeah.
get on well here, Paul, because travel here is permanently interrupted with crossroads, left and right turns. They're all the bulk of the roads are called A roads. They're not even twin lane highway. They're just 1-lane traffic both ways. And the whole thing snags and snakes through every little sort of nook and cranny and crook and nanny all over the place. So, yeah, you don't get much of that. When they put the first roundabout up in Ireland, the drivers just could not see it. They didn't understand what it was, so they just drove straight over, and they went back after a day, and there's just all these car trucks. They just went straight over the roundabout and carried on the road. They didn't understand quite what it was. What the British, you may remember though, is that they used to exist. There's still a sort of fumes of them floating around whenever we can get it going. But what the British did with roundabouts is they changed the rules of it and made it work. And what it was that you give way to the traffic on the roundabout. Prior to that, it was a mess. Have you ever seen the traffic at the roundabout, the Arc de Triomphe in Paris? It's 4 lanes wide, and they're all just got their foot on the horn, just howling at one another. It's just, or it used to be like that. I'm sure it might have improved a little bit, but then they do measure things in centimeters and stuff. So I'm not got too much hope about all that, all these kilograms and all that nonsense. But
always yield to the traffic in the roundabout. Always.
Yeah, they didn't used to, though. That's what I'm saying. There was a point where they didn't. So it's quite interesting. Yeah, roundabouts. We love roundabouts, don't we, Eric? I love them. I think.
Oh
they're
yes.
great.
Well, this one at Harlow, you can do 25 miles an hour round it because it's so bleeding big.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, I wouldn't
well,
have a
maybe we
problem
could start a
with
whole
that.
show about roundabouts because I don't know how much mileage we'd get out of it. They're not very big, but yeah, roundabout watch. It's great. It's very exciting, isn't it?
Some people do feel strongly about them for sure.
Yeah, they do. They do. I just want to read a letter out here that somebody sent into my Telegram group, which completely this is called a sidetrack moment where we go off into it's only brief. It's from Susan Gray. Hi, Susan, if you're hearing this, thanks that you sent this. She said, Paul, I've cancelled. You know those letters that used to read out on BBC TV with Cyril Smith and On That's Life and everything. This is like a reader's letter. She writes, Paul, I've cancelled my broadband and bought a SIM card with mobile data and now only check my emails and listen to your Thursday shows. What a lady of impeccable taste. It's absolutely tremendous, isn't it? She goes and she says, feeling much better keeping off my phone and stepping away from social media. Yes. Good. Reading more books, yippee, and feeling much more positive. Would love to meet up in person with you and your gang. Well, they're not my gang, but I'm trying to sort of get a contract on them. But I think there's the possibility of a meetup at some point this year, courtesy of the work that Mark's doing, is highly likely. Highly. Almost
Cornwall.
100%, I would suggest.
It's in Cornwall,
You'll be
isn't it?
down in. We'll all be off in Hertfordshire, and you'll be in Cornwall. Eric's having a great time in Cornwall. Well, who else is down there with him? Well, no, it's just Eric. No,
Take
you're
a
right,
little bucket
Cornwall.
and spade, yeah.
I won't be able to talk though, mate, because my mouth would be just full of clotted cream all the time, and I'd be just putting on tons of weight and not caring either. That would be the problem. I'd be just, shoveling it down, all that kind of stuff. And also more sidetracking stuff. I mentioned this. This is Home Domestic News Report here. I've been tidying up quite a bit. This is thrilling roundabouts, and now we're talking about tidying the house up. You don't say we don't bring you the hottest topics in radio, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm tidying up loads of stuff. It's why I found the film, the Peter Jackson film, on file the other day, because I thought I've got to tidy everything up. But I'm down the tip. I'm throwing garden stuff out and things out of the loft, and it's really good. Anyway, I go into a drawer and I come across a watch. And I look at this watch and I go, I recognise that watch. Anyway, it didn't look too happy. It was all beat up and everything. So I went to a jeweller's up here on Saturday, and I go in the jeweller's shop and I show them this watch and I say, look, can you put a battery in it? Because it's and they said, yeah. And can you clean it all up and can you put a new thing on it? And they said, yeah. They said it'll be about a week. Anyway, they lied because it turned up on Tuesday. It only took 2 days. And I went back and picked it up. I've got this watch on my wrist. And the reason I'm mentioning it, it kind of follows on from this thread, that little letter from Susan about just getting away from tech all the time. I know this seems ridiculous, but I can't stop looking at my watch, and I really tell the time wonderfully now. I'm thinking of charging for it when people want me to read off from this watch. But it's quite old because it was got for me by my fond and wonderful parents who are no longer around when I was 21. So I got this in 1981, this thing. So it's 45 years old this year, and it looks fab. Yeah, it's just a little signal back to myself. I am looking at a pocket watch, Eric, as well. Whilst I was in the shop, by the way, everybody, this was really funny. The guy that served me would have been in his early 30s, and he'd stepped out of about 1976. 75. Seriously, he had that long sort of haircut. What did they call it? That sort of thing that the Bay City Rollers had, right? That came down your shoulders.
I know. Yes,
no idea.
yeah.
I don't know what it was called. He had that. He was wearing a brown suit, which was never the best colour anyway, right? It was one of those sort of 1970s brown
crumbs,
suits.
yeah.
Yeah, flared trousers, slightly platform shoes with glittery sort of ornate patterning on the top. And I looked at him and said, 1970s? He said, oh yeah. He said, I'm a big fan. He said, I'm glad you noticed. I said, well, I lived through it. I said, I was surrounded by people dressed like you all the time. I said, I wasn't one of them, by the way. I said I was a little bit more circumspect about stuff like that. But he was great. It was really good. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. Watch story.
But
Just thought, get a watch, everybody. Read
I'm-
books and get a watch.
No. Well, I'll tell you, I'm wearing a beautiful watch. I wear it every day. And it was
Yeah.
my mother's watch.
Oh,
and
nice.
it was already a long time, her watch. And I mean, she's been gone many, many years. So this watch, I don't know how old it is, but it's just the most beautiful watch. It's a face. Obviously, these old watches, it's a face watch. I wonder if some children these days don't even know how to tell time on an actual face clock, that it doesn't just tell you, oh, it's 11:56 or something. No, you have hands that go around, and it's got a second, like the seconds are going around, so you could time, boiling an egg or whatever with the seconds. And this, when I brought it in one time to get the new battery and this and that, because it's a battery watch, it's not a wind-up watch. I remember the expression on the man's face, like the watch repair guy that just was doing a little bit of service on this watch, and he was very impressed with this watch. He says, "Wow, that's a really nice old watch you're wearing." And truly, it just ticks on and on. It's a beautiful watch, this old thing.
Is it mechanical or is it quartz? Is it a mechanical one?
It'd be wind up, surely.
No,
Yeah.
it's got a battery in it.
Oh, it's
really?
quartz.
Yeah.
Okay,
Because
right.
I've still got the pocket watch, Army pocket
You
watch,
wind up.
which my dad had, but he carried with him on D-Day.
Wow.
Yes, and do you know how they waterproofed, and is officially given to him by the army? Do you know how they waterproof them?
How?
Seriously, using contraceptives. They were issued a contraceptive to keep their pocket watches dry. That's true. Yeah.
Oh.
So there we are.
Yeah, while I was in there, the guy dressed in the 1970s, which did throw me a little bit. He did look a little bit incongruous, but I didn't mind. He said, "Well, if you're really into watches, we've got a few here." So I was sort of showing interest, even though I just handed the one in that I wanted back and everything. And so he had 6 watches there that were sort of antique watches, wrist watches, this kind of thing. And the first one he showed me was £1,200. I said, "Oh yeah, that's good." I said, "Then we've got this one." He said, "This is a bit more expensive." I said, "Oh good." He said, "Yeah, that's £5,200. I said, "Well, I'll take 2. I said, "I've got 2 sons. I might as well get a brace." I mean, that would leave a hole in my bank account that's not even there. Really, it was just ridiculous. I thought, and they were sat in this single pane glass box, not a big secure box, right next to the door. I thought, are they sort of setting themselves up for an insurance doobry or what? It looked a little, I mean, this is like a really old shop with single pane glass windows, and it's all extremely pleasant, and it's sort of Little England. It's nice. When I went back to pick the watch up, there was a lady in there of slightly more advanced years than me, I'm glad to say. It's quite fun, this. And I got talking to her, and we just started talking about watch shops and all that sort of English gossip stuff. It was a lot of fun. She was great. She was really good-natured, actually. So she'd come in to get her watch repaired that she'd had for a long time and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, it's funny. It's just symbolic in a way. As soon as I put it on, I was 21 again, which, of course, is deranged. But my mind went back to all that period. It's they're quite powerful, these little things. I mean, I've never worn jewellery. I don't sort of believe in all that nonsense. It's not for me. I think it's quite silly for blokes. But a watch, I guess, is the nearest and the only thing that comes to. So pocket watch next. I'll get one. Waistcoat to go with it. Yeah, got to get all the gear now. Got to get all the old person's gear.
Eric,
cool.
Speaking of mechanical, I do have a cuckoo clock on my wall, which is the real thing, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And it is, of course, mechanical. It has two weights, 2 pull, draw chains. One is for the cuckoo and one is for the clock itself, right? So, yeah, it's a wonderful thing.
Oh,
Alfred
clocks, yes.
Alfred, he brought that back, over one of the times that he visited back from Germany, when we were still in Edmonton, and he purchased that and brought it over as a gift to the family. That was really nice. Many years ago.
Cuckoo clock.
Nice.
Clock. Oh, very
I've
nice.
got one, but it's not as sophisticated or as elegant as yours. It's actually based on Tarzan, and it requires a battery. And then when it gets to the top of the hour, Tarzan comes out and blows a giant. It goes the old Tarzan war cry, and then he farts at the end of it. It's extremely vulgar. It's a vulgar clock, yeah. And my wife loved it so much because the boys, when we were growing up, they just thought it was great. They just sit in the kitchen. Oh, it's nearly the top of the hour. I mean, of course, it only lasted for half a day, but it was they enjoyed it while it lasted. You know what I mean? So you can only hear so many raspberries, although Eric might disagree. I don't know. Yeah.
Yes,
all good stuff.
that sounds interesting. But no, with you can get pocket watches now that are mechanical. That say about 30 or 40 years ago would have cost the earth, and they're really cheap. They're about sort of $20, $25, something like that. Very, very cheap.
Well, I think a quartz pocket watch is quite a good idea, really. I couldn't possibly afford
They're about $5.
those old.
They're about $5 now.
Yeah, they'd be all right, really. You just need a waistcoat with a pocket in to put them in. Anyway, I
Yeah.
guess it's for blokes. And so, as we practice becoming fuddy-duddies, which I'm really looking forward to becoming, we'll need all the gear, Eric. You need all the
Oh,
fuddy-duddy
definitely.
gear.
Yes, yes.
You can sort of wear your spectacles on your forehead all the time as if you're just about to do something really important. That's always a good sort
Yes.
of visual clue, isn't it? All that kind of stuff. So
Yes.
I don't know what do ladies get as they advance in years and become seasoned and wise women, Monica? What sort of things would they get? They wouldn't get pocket watches, would they? Do they get anything?
Well, you mentioned glasses on the forehead. Maybe the glasses on the leather band that hangs down. I don't know.
Oh yes, yeah. There's that, isn't there? Like the librarians have that sort of thing.
There you
at
go.
times. Yeah. We're creating a really good picture here, aren't we? A really dynamic picture. Yeah, all good stuff. All good stuff.
Speaking of
We've been
pocket
having a go at the
watches-
government, haven't we? We've been having. Sorry, Paul. Please say something.
Speaking of pocket watches, not too far away from you guys over yonder is Temu. You can get a beautiful gold quartz pocket watch for $4.88.
How do you spell Temu, with an E or an I?
TEMU. It's the Chinese Amazon. I mean, you can find anything on there, and they have they've got a nautical pocket watch with a compass on the front. That's $5.92.
And I've got a 1936 Olympics pocket watch with the eagle at the back and everything, and I've actually shown it on the show, and it's a fake because the eagle has a star where something else should go, and it's from India, and that was about $5, something like that. It's really
about
cheap,
$5.
and it is brass. It's about it's solid brass. Yeah.
Oh wow!
I mean, and it's,
Well, I
but it's
think I'm
quartz.
going to have a look at Temu, even though I think it's wrong for me to give my money to the Chinese. Although I don't, it's nothing particular. I've often bought many takeaways, which cost more than that watch.
Well,
They always cost more than that watch. A pancake roll costs more than that.
They also have a mini quartz pocket watch set, a pair of them for $6.08.
Wow. Well, I'm actually thinking of buying a couple of wind-up watches, mechanical watches for my sons. I've spoken to them about it, so I'm thinking Timex of an old manufacturer over here, still going reasonably strong. I've released some, and they look really rather nice. I just like the idea that they're going to break down at some point in the future, compelling you to go to a watch repairers, and there must be some that still exist, I think. So I think there must. And I know, Eric, your pocket watch has got some sort of signifier with National Socialist Germany, doesn't it? Doesn't it have a marking onto that effect or something?
Yeah, it's 1936 Olympics. That's it.
There you go.
It's supposed to be. It was like a souvenir you could buy, and obviously some enterprising person in India thought has got the real one and thought, I can make money out of this. And if you go onto eBay, you can see loads of them there. And as I say, I got my one pretty cheap. But the thing is, in 1936, I don't think they had it quartz. This is a quartz one, and it's spot on accurate. Well,
they worked well enough for Jesse Owens in the 100-metre sprint, didn't they? So
well, that's
they
right. Yeah,
good pocket watches then. Have you seen the picture for today's show? I have. I just find these things. It's really rather beautiful. It's an old painting of something. But just today's quiz, if you can find it, everybody, in the picture there is a swastika. Can you find it? Can you find? It's not hidden. It's just in there. You're going to have to look quite sharp, so you'll have to blow it up, but there is a swastika.
I find it. I see it.
Oh, instantly. Homing
Under
beacon. Instantaneous, Monica.
Yeah, under the horse's head.
It's on the bridle, isn't it, or something? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. 2/3 of the way over to the right of the photo.
Yeah.
Almost in the middle, but not quite. But yeah, very nice. Little tiny swastika.
Well, you've just won Eric's pocket watch from 1936. You've just
there we are.
Wow.
That's right.
I'm glad you were volunteered your watch, Eric.
Yeah, it's rough justice around here. It's not good. It's not good. Yeah, absolutely.
You do find the nicest pictures. I always wonder where you find these images for your shows. I really, really like them.
I spend too much time viewing things. Well, I think, yeah, they're good. We used a lot of AI ones in the beginning because I didn't know what I was doing. I'd probably get shopped for all these things at some point. I don't know. I just like it. On the Rumble page, when they're all just sat there, they look kind of nice, really. I'm just thinking it's almost like a gallery of good stuff. They're not all great, but most of them are pretty good, I think. Yeah, they're pretty good. Speaking of the government, anyway, just going back, and I read posts out from this guy reasonably regularly, Legal Man on X or Twitter. He's the guy that was featured in Barnum World. And if you haven't seen it yet, and I've mentioned it a few times, shame on you. It's a free film on YouTube. Go look it up, Barnum World. It's brilliant in terms of a cynical and accurate and truthful view of the whole nature of government and the whole joke of democracy. Anyway, this is a recent post. Take about a minute to read. He just says this. This backs up some of the things we've been saying today. Not backing up, he didn't know that, but it's good points. He says, at this point, the entire government structure, this is for both sides of the Atlantic, by the way, it's for everywhere. At this point, the entire government structure, both federal and state, is totally overrun by Bolsheviks. I'm glad that people are using this word because it really is this, at every level. So have the Republicans gone after these problematic Bolsheviks? No, not one single judge has ever been impeached, let alone disbarred and sent to prison. Same with prosecutors, elected officials, government administrators, NGO directors, and on and on and on and on ad nauseum. Not one brought up on charges. So the Bolsheviks do what they want without any consequence. And what's your option? Well, your only actual option under our system is to vote for the Bolshevik Party itself. Lol, that's it. You can vote for people who talk but do nothing to punish the Bolsheviks. Or you can vote for the Bolsheviks themselves. Yay! That's how openly absurd and corrupt it all is. And still, people defend this as the greatest system ever devised. I love his cynicism because it's truthful. It's not really cynicism. It's just an accurate portrayal of things. So there we go. I just thought we'd get another slight little boot into the whole government edifice and all that kind of stuff.
Let's face it, with democracy, if there's 3 blokes and 1 woman and the 3 blokes vote to rape that woman, does that make it correct? Because that's what democracy is. It's the rule of the majority, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So, it's bonkers to me, totally bonkers. But that's my 10 pence worth.
Yeah, I agree. It is a completely foolish system which is set up by the usual suspects, and it's it does not work at all the way that we have been taught that it works. It was drilled into us when we were young that democracy is the best form of government and that it is government for the people, by the people, of the people. But then it is nothing of the sort. And they left out a few things in that equation. They left out how the media is owned and controlled by, a certain group of people, and we're basically, told how to vote, really, whilst being made to think that we're thinking very independently and that we can, really. And then people wonder when election after election, nothing really changes. Doesn't matter who gets voted in, right? So, yeah, it's a game, you could say, that it is not for the people.
Mm-hmm. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. We're still looking for ways to overthrow it, though, or to get rid. Actually, I don't think we can. I think I think we just need to leave it alone and let it sort of rot under its own thing. And the less attention and energy we feed it is definitely a part and parcel of my thinking. Just to spend as much time as you can with good people, and as little time as possible with that lot. It's difficult because they just invade every part of your life, don't they? But I think that's clearly. I think it's a sound tactic. Let's put it that way. At least it's got some sense in it. And you get to meet up with jolly people like ourselves, and I mean that, and everybody here in the chat and places like this, and get to sort of thunder into topics all the time. So, you may have heard, Monica, that we've got this sort of food thing going on over here with a guy called Mark the Bowler Hat Farmer. Actually, you may not, because it's 2 months since we've spoken, really. So there's a lot of traction taking place around food over here, and trying to create a connection network, really, between consumers, direct with the farmers, to help the farmers out, because they're getting bullied like hell by the government and picked upon in a massive way, and to try and find a way to build up a kind of culture that circumvents the influence of the supermarkets, the middlemen.
No, that's fantastic. I do remember this it rings a bell completely. So maybe the last time I was on with you, we were talking about this. It's fantastic what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think it is. It's really good. I mean, the supermarkets make about 30 billion a year over here. Pounds, that is. So that's about 35 billion a year. And I couldn't read it out. I got a post the other day on Twitter from a farming guy going through the waste. The waste is absolutely horrific. It's like 80 to 90% of everything they send to the supermarkets just gets wasted. And there's a whole con going on where they reclaim the waste back and get paid money back from the government for this. It's just deranged. It's absolutely deranged. There's no shortage of food, but there is a shortage of good quality food, and it'd be just as easy to make that. But then the banks wouldn't make their money or retain their control over the market, and that's really what this is all about. Blah, 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 as it always is, you know. Yeah. So there we go. Yeah, it is.
Well, actually,
yeah,
I've come to the point of I don't believe in government, because when you look at it, I sound a bit like Monty Python, but what the government has ever done for humanity? More people have been killed by their own governments than all the wars put together. They're dangerous. And,
yeah, they are.
And why were they devised?
Who's that fellow who says government is
Larkin Rose?
Larkin Rose, thank you. I knew it was a different kind of a name. Rose, yeah. Larkin Rose. Yeah, it's very interesting to listen to him talk about it, and it's very compelling what he says, that government really is an illusion, or it is an illusion that we need government, because we just grow up with it and we just think, well, of course we need a government, but do we really? No. We need some kind of an organizational structure just for certain things.
Well, civil service run the country. Governments don't run the country, civil servants do.
Right. Yeah.
And really, when you look at it, I mean, you've got a fantastic statistic, Paul, haven't you, about civil service? Now it's how it's grown. The amount of civil servants
1860. It's a good one to just. I've said it. You know, we keep repeating these things for a reason. It's good to repeat these things so that you're armed in your pub conversations. This is just a simple, blunt one. But 1860 over here, there were 16,000 people running the entire British Empire in the civil service, and today, for these islands alone, it's over 500,000. It's just ridiculous. So, I mean, basically, you know, the bloat of the bureaucratic state is a consequence of it being structured the way it's structured, which is by design. So you've got effectively the parasitic governmental class, which contributes zero, just keeps saying, oh, we're going to make life better for you because we're going to come up with an improved taxation system. But we don't need one at all. We won't need one at all if we didn't have 500,000 civil servants. Would we? I mean, I don't know what the wage bill is for that each year, but it's pretty hefty, isn't it? It's going to be pretty hefty. And it's the same across all these. It's this, you know, we lost World War II and Bolshevik communism won. And the tragedy is that the so-called elites, certainly in London and New York and elsewhere, that's exactly what they wanted. And they paid for it. And they were quite happy for loads of people to die. And World War I laid a forerunner for that. So these things are important. We don't need to keep tunneling into it all the time, but it's just important to have it in your back pocket. That really is the case. Now we've got to find ways of not simply just describing the past. I think many people here know what the principal problem is to come up with a sort of change in our behaviour. At least this is my instruction to myself anyway, so that I start to do more proactive things and to begin to, at least for the duration of your life, do the best you can to restore your way of life. And I think we are fighting a rearguard action, so be it. So we can fight that well. If fight's the right word, we've got to sort of rebuild things from the past. And everybody knows that families are needed and this, that and the other. And it's possible to turn it all around. Oh, we're never going to recover. Yeah, we are. People have recovered from far worse than this. You know, they're even telling us about how hopeless our plight is, and people buying that. Oh, yeah, we can't do anything. Who told you that? They did. It's just at every single level. You know, if you're consuming their stuff, your brain's not going to work too well, it seems to me. It's not going to pan out well. Not at all. Anyway, Monica, it's been great having you on again. We're just coming up to the end of the show here. It's nearly up to 11 o'clock, a couple of minutes to go. Be great to have you back again, of course.
Thank you
pity
so
that we missed-
much.
It's been lovely having you. It always is. It's great. And, we'll have you back here in a few weeks' time. Any sort of final words or thoughts about pocket watches or maple syrup or your brother or all of them or recumbent bicycles? I mean, these are...
Yeah. Well, just, the political prisoners, like what I said earlier, very good to write to them and be sending them your good wishes. And I would say, do things locally where you are. If you get yourself unstuck from the internet and just finding things out online, and get out into your communities. And I like what you're saying about food. Know your local farmer. If you can't grow the food yourselves, do connect with people who do through markets and this and that, but do things locally where you are, network with people, and that, I think, is a good way to live and to also protect yourselves for whatever comes down the road. Mm-hmm. And thank you again for having me on. I enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.
Hey, great timing there. Yeah, we will. Yeah, we're going to do all of those sorts of things. I just need to get my chops into more raw milk, Monica. I've got an ice cream maker here at home, which has been in the box for a few months. A good friend of mine in America sent it to me.
Oh, we can talk about that next time. I have an ice cream maker, have made ice cream many times.
I've been told that ice cream for breakfast, done right, is one of the best breakfasts you can have. No sugar in it. You put protein stuff in it and everything, and it's like rocket fuel for the day. But Monica, it's been lovely having you, and Eric and Paul and everybody out there in Rumble and YouTube land and on Radio Soapbox and Holy Land Radio and Global Voice Network and Eurofolk Radio. Back again at the same time next week. Probably bring you a few more reports on FFT Radio and what's going on there, because it should have built a bit more by this time next week. We'll see you all then. Go good, get a pocket watch, read books, and go for plenty of walks, and be nice to children, dogs and animals and everything like that. See you soon, everyone. Bye for now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.